campaign is shifting gears. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden's re-election bid ramping up a focus on November after back-to-back wins for former President Trump. Fox's Jared Halpern in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Tuesday's results here. Biden-Harris campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez says confirms former President Trump has all but locked up the Republican nomination.
And the election-denying anti-freedom MAGA movement has completed its takeover of the Republican Party.
And so, Deputy Campaign Manager Quentin Fulks says the campaign is full steam ahead into the general election.
Just looking at the reality of the data in front of us, right? We've been prepared for this since the launch of this re-election in April of last year.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, the Republican runner-up in this primary, says her support is growing and she intends to stay in this race.
Haley rallies tonight in her home state, South Carolina. President Biden will speak at a UAW conference and possibly pick up a union endorsement a day after facing multiple interruptions from pro-Palestinian protesters chanting ceasefire now and genocide Joe at an abortion rights rally in Virginia.
The president believes that Americans have the right to speak out, make their voice heard, as long as they do it peacefully. And so we respect that.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre. As Israel and Hamas keep fighting, Iran-backed rebels in Yemen keep attacking ships in the region, while other Iran proxies target U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby.
As the president has said, we're not going to hesitate to take necessary action to protect our troops and our facilities, and we'll stay vigilant going forward, of course.
A U.S. defense official tells Fox News up to 7 proxy fighters were killed, 2 headquarters and an intelligence facility destroyed during U.S. airstrikes yesterday in Iraq. Meantime, a U.S. Navy destroyer intercepting missiles fired at a U.S.-flagged cargo ship off Yemen today. America is listening to Fox News.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Lots of clouds with us this afternoon. Some areas of fog and periods of rain. Definitely liquid rain, 52 for the high. Areas of fog and clouds around tonight. Some more rain on tap, 42. Thursday, periods of rain, mainly in the morning on Thursday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and 50. Mostly cloudy. I think we get a dry day out on Friday, 48, but more rain Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminars Tuesday, January 30th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights, and Wednesday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. Have questions after being injured in an accident? We'll match you with the Onder Law team that's right for you and your case.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Staples Print Big Sale means the more you print, the more you save. Get $20 off your print purchase of 100 or more, 50 off your print purchase of 200 or more, and 100 off your print purchase of 300 or more. Ends 2/10/24. See staples.com/print for details. Print more, save more at Staples.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly, and recycle old clothes by donating them. When we each share one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
You know, we have to do what's good for our party. And she was up and I said, wow, she's doing like a speech like she won. She didn't win, she lost. And you know, last week we had a little bit of a problem. And if you remember, Ron was very upset because she ran up and she pretended she won Iowa. And I looked around, I said, didn't she come in third? Yeah, she came in third.
That's President Trump last night speaking after he, in fact, did win the New Hampshire primary. And right out of the gate, Donald Trump comes out to give his victory speech there in the state of New Hampshire. And the entire preface of what he was going to talk about was trashing Nikki Haley. And I thought, gosh dang it, did I manifest this with our stupid poll from yesterday? Is Donald Trump... how did we phrase it yesterday?
Is he becoming a better campaigner?
Yeah. So not a good way to walk out on stage. It frustrated me. I don't know, maybe it frustrated you. Maybe you love that. But this is what Nikki Haley said when she got second.
I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory tonight. He earned it, and I want to acknowledge that. Now, you've all heard the chatter among the political class. They're falling all over themselves, saying this race is over. Well, I have news for all of them. New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go.
Yeah. I mean, she's not wrong. Aside from what she said, Brad, does it seem like you're being read a Berenstain Bears book when Nikki Haley talks in second grade?
No, I don't really feel that.
Very sing-songy, and
I don't like her cadence. I don't know. maybe it is sing-songy. I've never thought of it that way, but I'm just like, get on with it.
Yeah.
It sounds...
I feel like there's a lot of big dramatic winking going on. Like, you can't hear me doing it right now, but pause for effect. That's what it feels like.
Well, like, I'll use ministry as an example. You'll go to a church and you'll hear some preachers that just deliver a message. And when they deliver their message, it's very conversational. It's very much them delivering their message. And then you'll hear other ones where you've talked to this pastor outside of the pulpit. They, you have a conversation, they have their personality, and then they get in the pulpit and it is a rehearsed, almost a performance.
They're preaching.
Yes. And that's
in the performative way.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I get here. It's like Nikki Haley has gotten some consulting, is like, pause for effect, 2, 3, go with your next hit, And I don't know, it just comes off kind of inauthentic.
Kind of feels Hillary Clinton-y. And I don't know if this is a woman thing, so I'll say it, but it's distracting.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton, like, do you remember when I forget what church she was at.
I don't feel no ways tired. Yeah, it's like, you don't talk like that, Hillary.
Too far. It's like, that's not you.
No. And then she would go to the South, like when she was in Arkansas. She'd be. I don't get it. I don't. It doesn't. I've heard her talk one-on-one with people, and it just to the same thing that you're saying about preaching. And there's some people who preach the pulpit. I mean, no disrespect. I might listen to that sermon and love it. Who knows? But there's just something about her delivery that is hard for me to listen to what she's saying instead of how she's saying it. And Trump, I mean, I think I've calloused over to the Trump delivery because he's his own animal.
Yeah.
She's continuing to give reasons why they're the one to beat. And it's just not the case. There's no pathway forward for her that mathematically makes sense where something is going to turn drastically. This is the YouTube live chat poll for today. I'm going to put this out there right now. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? 4 options. Because she can actually win. You think that she's in it because she can win. Secondly, she wrongly thinks she can win. So you say, it's well-intentioned. She's not going to win, but she thinks she can. That's why she's still fighting. Third, to collect donor money, which is what a lot of people are suggesting right now. Everybody says it like this. Gosh, I hope she's not staying in the race because she has some very big donor meetings that she needs to fulfill. And she can't do that if she drops out of the race. That would be regrettable. I also don't think Nikki Haley would be the first person to do that, to stretch the legs on this a little bit, to try to line the coffers. And the last one is a Democrat plant. Did you respond? When I put that in the Twitter DM, I said, is this stupid? I don't know.
No, I don't think it's stupid. I think this is a great question. Actually, when I read it, that was kind of I said that. I was like, oh, this is a good one.
I've thought about it. Because I've heard people say that Nikki Haley is a Democrat plant. This is an instance where I was like, I don't know. Maybe I should just make the 4th option be something else. Nikki Haley is still in the race because not the first 3 things, and you've got your own idea. And then I was thinking Democrat plant. And then I was thinking, it's probably the one that's going to win. I guess I'll leave it in there. So if you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, you can vote in one of those 4 things and tell us which one you think. Why is Nikki Haley still in the race? Why is she staying in the race? JB says she is a well-thought-out plant, in his opinion. Julius says she is a Dem plant, and she even took their money from Dem donors. I think you could be in it for the right reasons and still take money from donors who may not be completely politically aligned with you, if you're being true and honest to what you will stand for and represent.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I would love that strategy for somebody to be propped up by the other party and then to beat the other party with their own money.
I don't think that the money that goes into this system, that there is a purity test that needs to be taken, a strict purity test that needs to be taken. You need to be at peace with where that money is coming from and true to what your standards are. Now, a lot of people have questions with Nikki Haley's standards. Scooter says, trying to rescue her party and country from neo-fascists.
I don't remember that option.
I think that would be two. She wrongly thinks she can win. I'm not 100% sure. Ron says she's still in it because she thinks Trump will be jailed. She's a rhino being funded by Democrats. Ron said that on Facebook. I think that the idea that Donald Trump will be incapacitated along the way is still a thought that many people are carrying, which is what we talked about yesterday. Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race. You have to remember that Ron DeSantis got into the race before Alvin Bragg levied the first blow, the first legal blow to Donald Trump. There are all these things swirling around Donald Trump, all of these legal troubles knocking at his door, but nobody had opened the door and served the papers quite yet. Then that happened, and then voters, specifically Republicans, said, we see what's going on here. This does look like lawfare, which is a word that I have learned in the last year. And we're not going to let this stand. We think it's unfair. We think that nobody is above or below the law. And we're going to back our guy. And that guy is Donald Trump. That all happened, and Ron DeSantis had to sit down. And he did. Credit to him for doing so. Nikki Haley comes in yesterday, second place, and gets on the stage quickly because she sensed that the numbers, when she took the stage, were going to look closer than the numbers were going to look later on. I think she wanted to scoop Donald Trump on the speech as well. And she was very positive and very upbeat. I don't blame her for being positive and upbeat. She's not going to go out there and be like, gosh, New Hampshire, you really screwed me over here. It's not going to happen. She's not going to do that and then be like, here we come, South Carolina. No matter to you, Nevada. I know we didn't pay the $150,000 to get on the ballot in Nevada, as if she doesn't have that money. It's bizarre. I don't 100% know. A lot of times I ask these questions because they're actual questions I'm thinking about. Why is Nikki Haley still staying in the race? And these are the things that I'm mulling around. And by the end of this show today, with your input and with our discussions, I kind of come to a conclusion where I say, you know what, I think it's this. So tell me what you think. I want to know. Donald Trump comes out on the stage and says what we played for you there at the top of this segment. And immediately, this is what we talked about yesterday. Donald Trump takes this New Hampshire victory and makes it about a personal thing instead about a movement thing. And you have to remember that the movement, the MAGA movement, involves you. When New Hampshire votes for Donald Trump, when New Hampshire votes for America First, that's you. That represents you. That represents the future of the country. He takes all the wind out of his sails when he comes out on the stage after New Hampshire gives him the victory there and attacks Haley.
And just a little note to Nikki. She's not going to win. She's not going to win. But if she did, she would be under investigation by those people in 15 minutes. And I could tell you 5 reasons why already. Not big reasons. A little stuff that she doesn't want to talk about. But she will be under investigation within minutes. And so would Ron have been, but he decided to get out. He decided to get out. Now, Vivek, I don't think would be at all because he's perfect, right? And Tim Scott, I know would never. That's no chance.
It's just useless. The only thing that does is stoke a base that's going to show up to every rally that you have anyway. You're not bringing new voices in to make the movement louder. You're trying to tweak the voices that are always there and asking them to scream louder. And I don't think that they can scream any louder. Yesterday, we were talking about the way that Donald Trump has managed himself in the conversation with Martha McCallum and Brett Baer, that interview that they did. That was something that Harris Faulkner brought up in her conversation with me yesterday about how there is a marked tone change, a very presidential attitude about Donald Trump in that conversation. And then we've seen other instances where he's been given the opportunity to speak and he brings things squarely focused on the prize, which is beating Joe Biden and getting our country back. And again, this is a reference that I make about him because this is what it feels like every time he does it. He's like the orange Kool-Aid man bursting into the room, reminding us that, yes, I still am Donald Trump. And it was disappointing to me. And I was excited that he won, because I know that there was a little bit of question about whether or not he would be able to pull off the victory. He won. It was a big deal. and he just moved the focus onto something else. And I just wish he would stop. And I'm sitting here thinking, there's momentum moving in a coalescing around an idea, an America First idea, which I don't think Nikki Haley represents America First. I think Nikki Haley would be immensely more valuable to this country than Joe Biden. No question about it. If Nikki Haley pulls off this, why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? That's our YouTube live chat poll for today. The first option is she can win. If she wins the nomination, I'm voting for Nikki Haley. But I don't think that she represents the type of Republican that I am. And I want to see Donald Trump cross the finish line. And I just feel like when the momentum starts to really move behind him, he takes the wind out of the sails and we have to take 2 steps back. And I just wish it wasn't the case. Did you feel like that?
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, I'm almost to the point where I'm numb to it. Like, this is just what Donald Trump does, and I'm not overly sensitive to it. So it's more like people have been pounding on this about him for so long that it's just ringing in my ears at this point. And I ignore it. I move forward. It goes, oh, yeah, look, he's insulting Nikki Haley.
But you've seen past that because you know that the policies on the other side are worth it.
I have. But I'm also saying that I'm just numb to all of it because that's all it is. That's all anybody ever yells about or screams about or anything. And it doesn't matter who the person is or what the topic is. The more you pound on the same thing, it just becomes background noise. And to worry about the way Trump presents himself or goes after Nikki Haley, I mean, to be fair, in his defense, they're in a primary fight. And she's been talking a lot of noise about how she's going to win. When he wins, he spikes the football every single time, and he will get the 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct flag every time because he's going to run up into your face and spike the football when he beats you.
I just want him to say scoreboard and then talk about America First.
But that's what he's doing. He's just doing it in the most gaudy, awful sort of way.
Stop it. I want him to stop. All right. Well, the big question is, and one of the possibilities why maybe Nikki Haley is still staying in the race, as mentioned by one of our listeners here, is maybe Donald Trump is going to be incapacitated due to his legal troubles. Is it possible? Is it possible that Donald Trump could find himself in a situation where he's no longer eligible to be the president? Andy McCarthy is going to be with us when we come back. He's the contributing editor at National Review and a go-to legal analyst for Fox News. He's a Fox News contributor. I'm going to ask him that question off the top. We're going to also talk about the Supreme Court case of that permission to remove the federal government to remove that Texas Border Patrol razor wire that's on the border, among some other things. Andy McCarthy on the Annie Frey Show when we come back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
She hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. Moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies.
I want to talk to you about Stewart's American Mortgage and how he's just waiting for your phone call or your text message to ask him about how he can help you with your mortgage and maybe even your broader financial position. A lot of people have been recognizing the out-of-control credit card rates on the potentially out-of-control credit card debt that you've amassed. Things happen in life, and when you all of a sudden look at it and realize, I'm not getting ahead at all. I'm actually getting way behind, and I've got to do something about this. Did you know that the Bagel Loan might be able to help you with Stewart's American Mortgage? Of course, he can help you get the mortgage for your new home. He can do a refinance if you bought your house within the last year or so and rates were super high. They've come down a little bit since then. Cost you nothing to use the Bagel Loan to get that lower rate. You need to reach out to him at 314-324-4440. But he can also work with you to do a cash-out refinance and get you to a place where you can pay off that incredibly high-interest credit card debt and get it into a manageable place. Trust me when I say I am a 2-time customer of the Bagel Loan to refinance my mortgage and secure that lower rate, and I recommend him personally as a customer of his. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Happy 2024. The new year is here. I have a great offer for the month of January. It might be the best deal of the year. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery. Every surface in your home can be zero resified by these carpet cleaning professionals. It's time to call them at 314-474-2020. Now, if you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk, that will get you the deal for the month of January. And here it is. Might be the best of the year. 3 rooms starting at $119, $50 off your air duct cleaning package when you mention the radio station or my name. 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. I've trusted Zero Res in my home for nearly a decade now. They do great work. They have awesome technicians. The customer service is amazing. You're going to be thrilled with the experience. Don't do it yourself. You're going to make things worse that way. Hire Zero Res. 314-474-2020. Online, ZeroResSTL.com. Use my name or 97.1 FM Talk. You spell it backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here. You're here. Not because of a label, but because conservative ideas actually work. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Part of what we're looking at as Trump's strength, his resilience, is really a reflection of Biden's fragility. Republicans are not afraid of Joe Biden. They're not afraid. They don't think that by putting up somebody this damaged, frankly, this deranged, with this many deficits, is going to hurt them at all. Because the polls show over and over again that even with 978 felonies, he's still neck and neck with Biden. And so it's a worrying sign. You're correct. There's some worrying signs for Trump. There should be worrying signs for Democrats.
Well, that's Van Jones talking about some of the legal peril that Donald Trump has found himself in. That's a lot of felonies that he just listed there. And it's among all of the things that are taking place throughout this campaign. We know there's this parallel story that is incredibly indicative of the support that Donald Trump has continued to amass throughout his legal challenges. I don't know that anyone could have predicted it, but it's hard to argue with the idea that he hasn't gotten more support because of his legal trouble. How bad could the legal trouble get? Well, we speak to the experts on that because I do not play a lawyer on the radio at all. So we speak with Andy McCarthy. He's a contributing editor at National Review, a fellow at the National Review Institute, and a Fox News contributor. Andy, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here.
Annie, great to be with you.
I wanted to ask you first and foremost a very simple question, because we've seen Donald Trump win 2 competitions here in Iowa now and in New Hampshire. Are any of the legal troubles that Donald Trump is currently facing going to disallow him or remove him from being able to win the presidency in November?
I don't think there'll be legal impediments to that. I mean, if he were convicted of a crime, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that somebody who is convicted, let alone indicted for a crime, is ineligible to be president. The only technically viable way that he could be denied the presidency for a legal reason would be if the Supreme Court were to swallow this Section 3 of the 14th Amendment argument that he is disqualified as an insurrectionist. I actually don't think that's going to succeed. So that's, if they surprise me and they surprise a lot of other people and accept that argument, then yes, he could be removed from the ballot, and that would make it, mathematically impossible if he gets removed from enough places, make it mathematically impossible to win. But I don't expect that to happen.
So it's a Supreme Court ruling on his eligibility to appear on the ballot, not anything that he could be charged for. He could be convicted. He could be in jail. As long as his name can appear on the ballot, according to the Supreme Court, he can still win the presidency.
Historically, Annie, my recollection is that Eugene Debs, around the time of the First World War, ran for president from prison. There just isn't any. What the Constitution says is that you have to be over 35, a natural-born citizen, and resident in the United States for 14 years. Other than that, there's no restrictions.
Well, I just want to make that clear. I've asked you that question before, and as we continue to get closer to November, I know a lot of people are worried that he would be removed from the race, and it just doesn't seem, barring that Supreme Court decision, that would be the case. I want to ask you about the Supreme Court ruling there in Texas with the razor wire that has been put up. Texas and the federal government going back and forth on protecting our southern border. This ruling comes out, and we saw some more conservative justices say, no, this is the responsibility of the federal government, and Texas is out of line to put this down. What can you tell us about the implications of this ruling that was very narrow in that 5-4 decision?
Yeah, I think people are reading too much into it because it's really not much of a ruling. The court has not reached the merits of this dispute between the Biden administration and the state of Texas. And it is a profound constitutional dispute because it goes to a core tenet of the American federalist system that the states are sovereign. So the court basically, I guess I should back up and say there is a litigation that's going on in the lower courts. And in order to freeze the situation while the lower courts considered the case, the district court and the Fifth Circuit Appeals Court put an order in place that said the federal government can't touch the razor wire, which it was basically dismantling on the premise or the ostensibly saying that it was preventing the Homeland Security personnel, the Border Patrol, from being able to carry out their federal mission. I think, sensibly to most people, the Biden administration is going to bat for the illegal aliens against the people of Texas. That's the way I see it. But the lower courts didn't rule on the merits of the case. They just said that the federal government has to leave things be until the courts do rule. All the Supreme Court did was say, we're not going to interfere with the federal government at this point. And they noted that the Texas case in the Fifth Circuit is proceeding on an expedited basis. So there's going to be a decision of that case in the Fifth Circuit, and then it'll come back to the Supreme Court and they'll rule on the merits. I'm disappointed, like many other people are, that the court intruded on the status quo and allowed the federal government to dismantle the razor wire. But they haven't ruled on the merits yet. And it's not clear that, just because the case came out 5-4 on whether they should disturb that order, that doesn't mean the court is going to rule in Biden's favor rather than Texas's in the end.
And that's an important distinction. Andy McCarthy with us right now, former chief assistant U.S. attorney, Fox News contributor, and contributing editor at National Review. There's story after story, just scrolling through Fox News here, any news outlet, more than 96,000 known gotaways at southern border since October 1st. I mean, we have a real crisis on our hands right now, and we've heard the president say upon returning from his winter break that he needs Congress to act and give him the money to protect the southern border. Texas is trying to do what they can do to protect their very real southern border of their state. Where is the responsibility legally of the sovereignty of that border that just seems to be a blind eye put on it by the federal government. Where does the legal ultimate responsibility lie to protect it?
Yeah, this is a very dicey area of the law because things have kind of flipped over the history of the United States. When the Constitution was ratified, it was much more clear that the states who remain sovereign. This is the unique development of American constitutional governance, is that it's a co-sovereignty system. Both the federal government and the states maintain sovereignty and are supreme in their own areas. And when the Constitution was ratified, what was clear was that the states had the power to keep intruders out of their territory. What was possibly in doubt was the extent of the federal government's power. The court has derived a border security power on the part of the federal government out of the fact that the federal government is sovereign and therefore has a duty to control the borders of the United States. But I think, Annie, that was meant to vindicate the state's interest in security against invading foreigners, not to nullify the state's ability to defend themselves. So the real question, to put a fine point on what you're asking, is, are the states still sovereign? Is that basic assumption of the American constitutional framework still true? And that is something that unfortunately is in doubt. I don't know how the court's going to come out on that.
So when you see the pushing of states like Texas taking the measures that they're taking to try to protect their border, do they need to stretch their limits as much as they can so that they can reach those challenges, so we can get a determination on where that line lies?
Yeah, I think what could very simply, not that they'll do this, but the very simple thing that needs to be rejected here is an innovation in policy that the Obama administration pushed and that the Biden administration has continued to push. And that is when the courts developed this idea that the federal government now has primacy in terms of border security and immigration. The reason that system worked was because the states had the authority to enforce federal law, as long as they didn't do anything that was inconsistent with what federal statutory law was enacted by Congress. What Obama said was that the states were limited not just by federal law, but by federal policy. In other words, the incumbent administration's views on how the laws were to be enforced. And what that means is that if you have an administration like the Obama administration or like the Biden administration that won't enforce the laws, the states are stuck. They can no longer say all we're doing is enforcing Congress's laws, like the law of Congress that says if you are an illegal immigrant, you're supposed to be detained until the end of your expulsion proceedings. What the Obama administration is saying is if we, the incumbent administration, decide that we're not going to enforce the laws, the state can't enforce them either. And I think if the court would simply say the states have full authority to enforce federal immigration law, irrespective of what an incumbent administration's policy is, we'd be in a lot better place than we are now.
It's an interesting exercise in federalism, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But the time is ticking. That's the border problem that we're facing right now as a country. But before I let you go, we're speaking with Andy McCarthy right now, Fox News contributor and contributing editor at National Review. I want to ask about the immigration side of it, because there are two distinct concerns that the country has to face right now. We've heard a lot of the political candidates say instead of catch and release, we want to catch and deport. We've talked about, the actuality of being able to round people up who have come here and deporting all of them. As the law stands right now, what does the federal government, what kind of latitude do they have to catch these individuals and just directly deport them back to the country that they came from?
Yeah, they have full authority to do that. I think what's illegal is this scam program that Biden set up, where he has this kind of what they call a parole, where they, instead of having the illegal immigrants cross the border at the ports of entry, where their theory is, the government's theory is that if they step one foot on the United States, we have to let them in because they're entitled to claim asylum and have all kinds of legal proceedings. What Biden did was to try to mask that we were letting so many illegal aliens in, is have them apply for a date and time to come in, as if that made it legal, when he doesn't have any authority to do that. And now he considers these people who are in to be paroled in. And in point of fact, they're actually illegally in the country. There's no reason a new administration couldn't switch policy and deport them. But what you're left with, of course, is the finite nature of our resources, right? I mean, there are enough illegal aliens that have come in just under Biden's time in office to be bigger than the city of Los Angeles, which is the second largest city in the United States. We're talking about millions of people. And what typically happens is, a new government comes in and says, well, we'll go after the low-hanging fruit. Like if we have people who are illegally in the country and we know they're criminals, we'll make an effort to get them and deport them. But they just don't have the resources to, we're talking about a population of perhaps 30 million people in the United States who shouldn't be here.
Right.
And they're not going to be able to deport 30 million people.
It's outrageous. And the longer we wait to resolve the issue, the more difficult it's going to be to resolve the issue. But it is a very important one. Andy McCarthy, thank you for the time today. I know that there's a ton of legal issues out there to discuss, and I think that this immigration one and the border one is often overlooked for the more salacious election and Trump and Biden and Hunter. So we appreciate you giving us some of your insight on this issue today.
Thanks so much, Annie.
Of course. We hope to do it again soon. Thank you. Andy McCarthy, the contributing editor at National Review, fellow at National Review Institute, and Fox News contributor. He's also a former chief assistant U.S. attorney. Great to have him on the show and give us that intellect. The money that we are spending on facilitating illegal immigration, because that's what we're doing right now, is outrageous. The cost of supporting these individuals once they get here is outrageous. And I'm just comparing, Brad, the attitude in 2015. Obama was on his way out, 8 years of the Obama administration, and he was much stronger on the border, to his credit, than what we're seeing right now. Although you kind of wonder how much of what's going on right now is Obama influenced from the background. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. A lot of the same players from one administration to the other. But that whole DACA conversation that took place in 2014 and 2015, and I remember the Gang of Eight and all of that discussion about, okay, I think it was the number in my head was 750,000 people. It was a finite group of people that could qualify.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think it was less than 1 million people. I think it was 750,000 people, and they were people who were taken into the country when they were so young. It wasn't their choice to come here.
Right.
They know nothing else. Should we extend grace to those people in this country? And some Republicans were willing to do so. And they were the rhinos of the time. And I'm just thinking now, if we would have put a stop to it then, approved the DACA program, said these people could stay, but we are going to acknowledge the great wrong that has been done here and say no more of that, 750,000 is nothing.
Nothing compared to what we've had in the past year, let alone the entire 3 years of Biden's administration.
96,000 gotaways. These are the people who aren't tracked.
Yeah.
Like what we were hearing from Andy McCarthy there. These are the people who didn't make an appointment with Joe Biden to illegally come into the country. That is insanity. And I'm not saying the DACA program was the savior. I'm not saying it was a good idea. I think it was an idea at the time that was a compromise that could have been worked out. John McCain said no.
Yeah.
And now we're here, and the problem is so massive that it's going to take somebody who is willing to dramatically change the course of this country in the face of a ton of criticism, because the images of deporting people are going to be used against them. Donald Trump doesn't have to run for re-election.
No.
And Donald Trump is going to, if he is elected is going to be able to do things as a second-term president that are going to be the tough things, should it be within the authority of the executive office. We need somebody who's going to have the strength to stand on principle and to say, this is what it means to be an American. We need to respect the idea that being an American means something and abide by it and welcome all who want to come here and do as we do as Americans. And the number one thing you have to do is respect law and order. Mm-hmm. It would start with the president of the United States, one would think. We're going to need to change the president in order to get one who does respect that law and order. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America, when we come back, the YouTube live chat poll, we need your votes on it. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Well, that's the question. Your options are because she can win. She wrongly thinks she can win. She's collecting donor money, or she's a Democrat plant. Wonder what you think here. Give us your thoughts and your comments and your vote on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Wiggins America, when we come back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
RulerFoods.com. Have you visited Ruler Foods yet this January? I encourage you to check them out so you can save money on your grocery bill. Here are a few things that are locked in low pricing. You go to Ruler Foods, you're going to count on these low prices. Fresh chicken drumsticks, 4.5-pound package, $5. Thin sliced chicken breast, 1.5 pound package, $5. Sandbar shrimp bowl, 7 ounces, $5. Kroger pork loin chop, 5-count package, $5. They have shaved steak at 14 ounces, a Kroger brand at $5.99. And they've got a ton of other things that are going to be savings for you each and every time you go to shop there. Those name brands that you count on, they're going to be at Ruler Foods. The Kroger brands that maybe you haven't checked out yet, at Ruler Foods prices, they're going to be there for you to rely on. Saving on your grocery bill is a wonderful way to improve your personal economy, to make sure that those expenditures that you have that are repetitive are reliable and lower. Ruler Foods is there to make that happen. Clean stores, well organized, easy to shop, and very simple to save. Go to rulerfoods.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
You saw the results from last night. The question today, why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? That's the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Your choices: she can win, she wrongly thinks she can win, to collect donor money, or she's a Democrat plant. We want to know what you think of those 4 choices. Let us know. Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll, 1249. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
You're listening to award-winning, thought-provoking talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
On the air for over 20 years. This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! Reasons why Ron DeSantis didn't become the Republican nominee.
He quit.
All right, go ahead and play the sounder again, and we'll do a different one.
Is that one on the list?
It is not. There are several reasons that it says here why his campaign sputtered and didn't quite make it to the finish line. And I think there's merit to some of them. I want to discuss some of them with you. This is from semaphore.com, which is a news site that I wasn't familiar with, but is pretty good. I've been poking around. It's a pretty good news site in multiple continents now.
What are you talking about?
Semaphore.com. Check it out. It's a good news site.
Multiple continents. Like
multiple continents.
Antarctica.
Yeah. It's in Antarctica.
Ding, 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 ding.
Here we go. First of all, he missed his moment is the first one they say. DeSantis didn't become the Republican nominee because he missed his moment.
What does that mean?
And here's the way they describe that. That it seems hard to remember now, but there was a time when Donald Trump looked vulnerable and DeSantis
It's when he entered the race.
was competitive in state and national polling. And in that moment, which would have been around November 2022, they're saying, DeSantis didn't take the opportunity to knock Trump down while he was already down. What do you think about that?
I think that he got in the race when it looked like Trump was vulnerable.
Yeah, and he was also limited by declaring his candidacy by Florida law. He had to wait for the Florida legislature to change the law, essentially.
That's true. That's an interesting point.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I will.
That's really smart.
It doesn't taste very good. I appreciate the...
Really impressive.
That is impressive by Brad.
And true.
Number two, Trump did real damage to DeSantis early. So DeSantis wasn't willing to kick Trump. Trump was willing to kick DeSantis.
Yes. Trump is the meanest girl on the block.
Absolutely. But do you think that was a key factor?
I think it was
in the race.
The second biggest factor.
I do too. Yeah. I think that was a huge factor that Trump came out swinging hard and got influencers behind him. And it seems to have worked, at least at this point. Number three, the announcement was a disaster. Do you remember the announcement that he made?
Twitter?
It was on Twitter. It was crashing. It was a mess. And the fact that it was online entirely was a choice.
I didn't think it was a disaster the way it was played out to be a disaster. And I think it goes back to the influencers who deemed it a disaster. I think if Trump would have done what DeSantis did, it would have been the most brilliant thing ever.
It's all about the spin.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I think that the DeSantis team wasn't prepared to take on what Trump would throw at them.
There is a moment, though, when you announce that you have a lot of spotlight. And I do think he missed that a little bit.
It wouldn't have been that way if it would have functioned. That's not on him.
Well, the fact that he chose Twitter instead of choosing to do it at a press conference or something.
But you can't do it at a press conference because then that gets covered in a specific way by a left-leaning media that spins the whole thing. They're not even airing Donald Trump's victory speeches. They're talking over them. On Twitter is the only place where he could have announced that and done it his way. And Twitter failed him. That's not, in my opinion, on DeSantis. That's on Elon Musk and Twitter.
I mean, Twitter definitely failed him.
Yeah.
Because how is he going to know that the site's going to crash?
I was going to say, but the other side of that is he was taking a big swing, a big cut. You know, he was trying to hit the home run. And I always respect somebody that tries to hit the home run and swings and misses rather than somebody that just takes the pitch or bunts it down the third baseline.
If it would have functioned the way it was supposed to, think about this. He crashed the site.
That's true. And
that's the spin that they didn't win.
It's so funny that Obama's doing this stuff in 2008 and 12, and people are like, oh my gosh, he's a genius.
So innovative.
He's using all these different new media. And then DeSantis does it like, oh, what an idiot. Should have used old media. He tried to outflank Trump from the right. This is number 4. He tried to outflank Trump from the right and couldn't do it.
No, I think he succeeded at that.
Yeah, he is to the right of Trump.
Significantly.
Yeah.
But as far as getting support from the right, maybe the far right, he wasn't quite able to do that enough.
False. What is the far right? The left-leaning media has wrongly named the far right people who are obsessed with Trump. The people who are the most obsessed with Trump are Trump first and not comparatively one to the next, conservative to the core. There's a lot more populist in what Donald Trump has to offer than conservative. And Ron DeSantis is an actual, effective, proven, conservative in every possible way candidate. And he proved that, and he will still be able to prove that. Donald Trump isn't the conservative's conservative. He's a populist. He's effective. He's a good politician, which can be a compliment, but maybe isn't. I think he 100% has the right over Donald Trump in principle.
I actually do too. The next one is kind of related to that. He seeded the anti-Trump middle. So there's this group of people who they're Republicans. They might be even very, very hardcore conservatives, but they just don't like Trump. He never really was able to coalesce them.
Because he wouldn't go all in on the anti-Trump thing, because he's not anti-Trump. He was just the when he came out, when he put himself into the race, he was the winnable version of Trump. And you can't give the finger to the people who support the same things that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron DeSantis isn't an anti-Trump candidate. Nikki Haley is.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Chris Christie is.
Last one here. The Trump indictments proved impossible to overcome.
It's the only thing. That's the thing. And that's the number one. Number one, that. Number two, the influencers and the spin that Donald Trump's team not just did, but the things they were willing to do. It's just, yeah. It is what it is. But it's not Ron DeSantis' time. And that the voters made that clear. Which is the way it's supposed to work.
It's a democracy. It's a republic. It's a republic.
It is. DeSantis' time is still coming. And so is Deroy Murdock. We come back.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun. Always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this, durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Seminars Tuesday, January 30th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights, and Wednesday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
They're still trying to bridge the gap. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Bipartisan talks between the Senate and the Biden administration on border security have not yet produced a bill, even as a migrant surge continues.
We're doing what we can, right, at the border. DHS is maximizing their process, doing what they can at the border. But we need help, right? We need Congress to actually act.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says President Biden takes the issue seriously, but Republicans blame his policies for the surge, and it remains unclear how much change he will support to address it. Those border talks are holding up action on a broader security package that includes funding for Israel and Ukraine. Ukraine hasn't confirmed or denied Russia's claim that a military transport plane was shot down by Ukraine, killing everyone on board, including 65 Ukrainian prisoners of war who were headed for a prisoner swap. Russia has not offered evidence. The U.S. has not confirmed the claims. President Biden spending part of today at a United Auto Workers conference in D.C., reportedly set to pick up the union's endorsement as his reelection campaign targets former President Trump after his back-to-back wins in Iowa and New Hampshire. Though Nikki Haley says there's still a long way to go, turning her attention to her home state for now.
The former president's strategy to try and knock former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley out of the race hasn't worked, and Haley is wasting no time in her home state. She has argued that she has the best chance to beat President Biden in a general election and has a rally this evening in North Charleston. Her campaign is sinking millions into a new ad buy in South Carolina and has already released 2 new ads, one calling a possible Trump-Biden race, quote, the rematch no one wants.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers in New Hampshire, while Trump is calling on the party to unite. New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, who's been backing Haley, says the party should unite around her. America is listening to Fox News.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Lots of clouds with us this afternoon. Some areas of fog and periods of rain. Definitely liquid rain, 52 for the high. Areas of fog and clouds around tonight. Some more rain on tap, 42. Thursday, periods of rain, mainly in the morning on Thursday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and 50. Mostly cloudy. I think we get a dry day out on Friday, 48, but more rain Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation. Because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Drury Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Drury Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. You find them online at igotfloored.com. igotfloored.com. When you're shopping for flooring, you want to make sure that you get the best for your dollar. You worked hard for your money. Of course, you want it to stretch as far as you can, but you also don't want to sacrifice quality in that process. I really appreciate Michael's Flooring Outlet and the Michael's family because they are local. This is a local operation. These are St. Louis people, and they have successfully owned and operated this family business in St. Louis for 30 years. And they treat people just like you with the kindness, the respect that you deserve when you're coming in and giving them the opportunity to try to earn your business. They have beautiful different types of flooring, carpeting in your home, the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk brand, which provides you superior performance to other brands that are out there. They carry that. It gives you that silky softness that you want to run your feet over, lay down on the floor with your kiddos while you're playing or the grandkids, and it's going to sustain that quality throughout the life of it in your home. Michael's Flooring Outlet is there to give you that type of access to great quality products, but at a great value. Learn more at igotfloored.com.
Conservatives Care supports organizations making a difference in our community. Kim St. Ange here. USO Missouri serves active, reserve, and National Guard military members and their families throughout the St. Louis Metro and Kansas City. Learn how you can support their mission at 971talk.com/care.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We can now make a major projection. CNN projects that Donald J. Trump will win the Republican presidential primary in New Hampshire. The former president scoring his second decisive victory of 2024, delivering a powerful blow to his only remaining major opponent, primary opponent, Nikki Haley. Trump taking a critical step toward winning his third Republican presidential nomination. Again, CNN projecting Donald Trump will win the Republican primary in New Hampshire. And we should note that it has never happened that somebody won Iowa and New Hampshire and then did not go on to win their party's nomination.
So that's Jake Tapper on CNN projecting Donald Trump to be the winner. Of course, he was the winner. Nikki Haley coming in second place despite her quasi-victory speech that rubbed Donald Trump quite the wrong way. The YouTube live chat poll for today on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Is it because she can win or she wrongly thinks she can win to collect donor money, or because she's a Democrat plant? We'll know what you think. Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and figure out what you think and let us know there. There are questions that are moving into the next competition, which is in Nevada. South Carolina is where Nikki Haley is setting her sights. And I'm curious to find out what Deroy Murdock has to say about those results. A nationally syndicated columnist and a member of Project 21, Fox News contributor. Deroy is back with us on the show. Deroy, thanks for being here.
Great, Annie. Great to be with you.
Were you surprised at all about the results last night? Donald Trump coming in first place in the arena that Nikki Haley had really counted on succeeding in?
I wasn't surprised that Trump won. I thought it would be a bigger victory than it was. I think she tightened things up a little more than we thought. I think having having Ron DeSantis pull out, made it much more of obviously a two-man or one man, one woman race, certainly. But a big sort of wild card here that people don't think about quite maybe so much is that this was an open primary, which is something I oppose in general, not just in New Hampshire, but everywhere. I think that Republicans should pick the Republican nominee, Democrats should pick the Democrat nominee. And if you're an independent, then, if you support a third party, great. But you had a lot of people participating in the New Hampshire primary yesterday who are not Republicans. And Fox News did a survey on this, speaking with voters, and the overall result was Trump 54.4, Nikki Haley 43.3, so Trump won by 11.1%. Among Republicans, though, just Republicans who they polled, the preference was Trump 70%, Nikki Haley 28. So that's a difference of, what is that, to 42? Looks like a 42% margin. Now, among the unaffiliated, the people who are not Republicans, that result was Trump 36, Haley 62. So most of the people who supported Nikki Haley were people who are not Republicans. So, in the fall, I guess that's a good thing. But when Republicans are trying to pick a Republican nominee, it seems to me Republicans should be the ones doing so. And a lot of people who are not Republicans came in. And some of them that call themselves strategic voters. They interviewed one last night. I think it was on CNN. And he's a student, and he said that his plan was to come in, vote for Nikki Haley, make life as difficult as possible for Donald J. Trump, and then vote for Biden in the fall. And I don't think he's the only one who did that. And I think a lot of these are basically troublemakers who are coming in thinking, okay, here's a good way to stick it to the orange man, and they did. And Haley lost 70-28 yesterday. I think she would have dropped out and said, all right, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going home. But because this was closer, she continues, and Trump has got to focus on her and not just focus on Biden. And it's going to give him one more thing to worry about, which is the last thing the man needs.
Yeah, and certainly. I listened to the speech that Nikki Haley gave before Donald Trump spoke, and Nikki Haley comes out with a very positive message and talks about it's just the beginning, it's not the end. And you can't fault her for having a positive, upbeat message when she takes the stage. Of course, that's what she's going to do. Donald Trump seemed to not like it too much, and his first remarks were about Nikki Haley and her speech. Just the day before yesterday, we were talking about Donald Trump's tone and his ability to campaign, and it seemed as though he was moving in a little bit more of a presidential general election style of campaigning. And then, of course, last night, it seemed like that took a dramatic turn backwards. What are your thoughts on the tone and tenor of candidate Donald Trump as of this point in time?
I agree with you that, I described it as a kinder, gentler Donald J. Trump over the last maybe week to 10 days or so. And I think a lot of people look for that. I don't mind the name calling. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's all really kind of hilarious. But, I'm pretty hard and mega guy. But there are a lot of people who like his policies. They like how America was thriving before COVID came in and wrecked everything. But they weren't crazy about the lashing out, the name calling, and those other things. And if they would just, if that were not a part of the equation, they gladly would vote for Donald J. Trump. So I welcome this kind of gentler, warmer tone. I was surprised he lashed out at the way he did at Nikki Haley. And what he ought to do is, just generally speaking, follow this basic principle, which is, shoot up, don't shoot down. You shoot up at Vladimir Putin. You shoot up at the Ayatollahs. You shoot up or across, I suppose, at Little Rocket Man who's got atomic weapons, people like that. And if you're Donald J. Trump and you're leading the GOP and you've had this huge victory in Iowa and another victory last night, you just say, look, Nikki Haley will get the message at some point. Our message continues, and our message is Joe Biden needs to go back to Delaware, and here's why, and talk about some policy. And here's what we're going to do. Please support us. Thank you and good night. And everyone feels great. And instead, Trump created something for everyone else to talk about, which is him kind of beating up on Nikki Haley and her supporters and all that, and that's just unnecessary. The best thing to do is, look proud, tough, self-confident, and just let it roll off his back, and smile and wave. And a lot of people will kind of forget about the things about Trump that they didn't like and focus on things they did like, which is being a growing, prosperous, generally happy country respected on the planet, as opposed to where we are now, which is sliding backwards at high speed. So I hope the kinder, gentler Trump will show up, stick to the wonderful policy agenda that he has, his excellent record from when he was president, and just smile and be happy, and not so grumpy. And I think a lot of people will buy that formula, and he'll be reelected in November.
Yeah, that's so well said. Deroy Murdock with us right now, Fox News contributor, a member of Project 21, and a nationally syndicated columnist. I'm reading your article that you have posted in the Daily Caller right now. Open borders are forcing taxpayers to open their wallets. We are seeing a great consistency in the number one concern for voters so far that have been able to go to the caucus or go to the primary. The border crisis, whether Biden wants to call it a crisis or not, is very top of mind for voters right now. What do you make of the impact that this abdication of responsibilities on the Biden administration is going to have on the November race for president?
I think it'll be huge. This right now in poll after poll is the number one concern of Americans, even beyond the economy. And it's not just crazy right-wingers like us. And you have a lot of Democrats even who are saying, look, this is insane. I didn't sign up for this nonsense. And the people who are for generous immigration and giving people an opportunity to come to this country and be part of the American dream, but they got to come here legally. They need to show up with visas and passports. And if they're breaking in and creating a national security headache, a complete collapse of law and order, basic chaos, people, including Democrats, increasingly are very unhappy with that. And I wrote in my piece in the Daily Caller that this isn't just a national security and a law enforcement problem. This is a fiscal problem, too. People don't focus on it quite that much. An excellent group called the Federation for American Immigration Reform did a study on this last year, and they calculate that illegal aliens are costing this country every year $182 billion. Now, some people say, look, these guys work, they pay taxes, and there's a bit of truth to that. They pay about $31 billion in taxes, but that still leaves us on the hook for $151 billion of net cost for illegal aliens per year, and Joe Biden's been there for 3 years. So we're talking in round numbers, $450 billion, 45% of $1 trillion that these illegals are costing us at the federal and state and local level. The federal level, it's about $66 billion, and the state and local is somewhere in the range of $115 billion, I think it is, or something like that, $116. And most of that from state and local is about $73 billion for education. People having illegal aliens and kids. Healthcare is a big number. In Denver, they've got about 8,000 illegals who've showed up at the Denver Health, which is the big government hospital there. 20,000 visits. They didn't pay for them. The Denverites have to pay for this, and now that hospital is just teetering. Here in New York City, we've got a lot of illegal alien kids all over the place. We've got 160,000 illegals who flooded in New York City, cost about $12.25 billion with a B. And to pay for that, our wonderful, delightful mayor, Eric Adams, is cutting police, he's cutting firefighters, he's cutting teachers and education, and all this in order to pay for clothes and food and housing and education for illegal aliens who've broken into our country. And we New Yorkers who are American citizens are picking up the tab for a bunch of people who essentially have invaded our country. And, it's not just Republicans don't like this, and Democrats, including Democrat politicians, increasingly are looking at this and saying, we can't go on. This isn't fair. It isn't right. It's too expensive, and it's dangerous. It needs to stop now.
Yeah. Deroy Murdock speaking with us right now. Before we let you go, in order for us to have a reliable, fair election, you would think that the American press would be wanting to provide the Americans with as much information as possible. Of course, there's always going to be reaction to the information that is provided, and I respect people's ability to have a different perspective on it. But what do you make of the left-wing media's decision to not air Donald Trump's words? I mean, if Donald Trump wants to go up there and tell us that the sky is green and the grass is blue, shouldn't he be able to say that for the American people to determine that he is lying about said things, when the media out there is saying, we won't even permit your brains to import the information that Donald Trump is saying because it's just too dangerous for you to consume?
I agree with you. I think that's censorship. I think it's also highly patronizing. Look, these are, generally speaking, adults who can watch Donald J. Trump's speeches and say, my God, this guy's wonderful, we need to elect him. Or, oh, my God, this guy's insane, he's a potential dictator, we got to keep him out at all costs. The basic first function of the journalism industry is to tell people what's happening. And if Trump has won in New Hampshire or Iowa as well, and he's getting up and talking to his supporters, that ought to be on the air. You ought to carry it. Now, you can come on afterwards and say, here are the 5 things he said, they're not true. Here are the 3 things he said, they're outrageous. Here are the 7 things he said that ought to keep him from ever getting anywhere near the White House, even as a tourist. And if that's the argument you want to make, wonderful. Get up and make that. And other people say, here's why everything he said is stellar and why this guy ought to be president right now. And you have a nice debate about it, and that's terrific television. But for them to block his speeches and not even let people see them, I mean, if he is really, in fact, a pathological liar and a dictator and Adolf Hitler Jr., then let him get up on TV and say awful things and let people, and then come on and say, see, you heard the man, he said it, and this is the horrible monster we need to keep out of the White House. I mean, if this guy's really as awful as Rachel Maddow and her pals say he is, let him get up and say terrible things and scare the American public and keep himself out of the White House. When they don't show him, you think that they have something to hide, and maybe he's not really quite the monster they say he is.
Yeah, and I mean, the truth is that if his words are dangerous, they must feel that the viewers are potentially dangerous as well, to keep them apart from one another. It just shows what they think about the people who they assume could be consuming their content. Very, very little of them, they must think. Deroy,
correct. Exactly right.
We love having you on the show. Thanks for being with us. A lot more to talk about each week as we're in officially the campaign election season. We look forward to having you back.
Likewise. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much, Jenny.
Bye-bye. Deroy Murdock is a nationally syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor, and a member of Project 21. You can check out his piece in the Daily Caller about the immigration border control problem, and lots to talk about for sure. When we come back, haven't had him on this election cycle yet, Robert C. Cahaly. He has been on the show many times before, and we're excited to welcome him back. He's going to join us here on the air. He's a chief pollster and founder of the Trafalgar Group. He's also the co-host of Polling Plus podcast. Robert Cahaly is going to discuss with us the polls, how they have predicted so far the results, how have they shaped up, what their predictions were, what their polling suggested to the actual results, and how valuable are polls in this 2024 race. Robert C. Cahaly with the Trafalgar Group when we return.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Retirement Advisory Group is inviting you, and they invited me, I'm going to be there, on January 30th for their next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. January 30th, Tuesday, so that's next Tuesday, and it's at the Frontenac Hilton. They start the event at 6:30, and I show up at about 6 o'clock, and I try to meet all of you that come and fill this room. It's always full, so I want to make sure that you get your spot reserved. And listen to what he has to say. Listen to what Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw have to say about how they can help you transition from working into retirement. If you're 59 and a half or older, you need to be thinking these thoughts now so that you can protect yourself, so that you don't hit a very poorly timed market downturn. They can insulate you from those things and provide you the worry-free retirement that you have been hoping for. You've put in a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice in order to get yourself to retirement. Make sure you've covered every one of your bases, and this free event is absolutely worth your time. He starts it at 6:30. It only takes about 45 minutes of your time, and then you're done. And there are free snacks, which is always worthy of mentioning. Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton, 6:30 p.m. Seats are limited. Go to retirementkey.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877 25 Rhino, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25Rhino.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Happy 2024. The new year is here. I have a great offer for the month of January. It might be the best deal of the year. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified by these carpet cleaning professionals. It's time to call them at 314-474-2020. Now, if you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk, that will get you the deal for the month of January. And here it is. Might be the best of the year. 3 rooms starting at $119, $50 off your air duct cleaning package when you mention the radio station or my name. 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. I've trusted Zero Res in my home for nearly a decade now. They do great work. They have awesome technicians. The customer service is amazing. You're going to be thrilled with the experience. Don't do it yourself. You're going to make things worse that way. Hire Zero Res. 314-474-2020. Online, ZeroResSTL.com. Use my name or 97.1 FM Talk. You spell it backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 0% financing for 36 months on attic insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Republican infighting in the Missouri Senate was already nasty. Then it got even nastier on Tuesday and is likely to ramp up on Wednesday. We're going to talk about it and give you the latest Wednesday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Jennifer cannot answer your question. The Nikki Haley campaign cannot name a state that they can win in. And people did say that she could win New Hampshire. Governor Sununu, her biggest cheerleader up there, was running around the state saying Nikki Haley's going to win in a landslide. And then all of a sudden he started to walk that back. And then he said, oh, no one's expecting her to win. It doesn't matter if you take second place, Jennifer. No one gives out silver medals in politics. She lost in Iowa. She lost in New Hampshire. She's going to lose in South Carolina. There is no pathway to victory, and it's a disservice to the American public that you guys are pretending that she can win.
Well, that's President Trump's press secretary, and she's talking about Nikki Haley can't name a single state that she can win. And, you know, as everybody does during a time like this, we check the polls. We see if there's one that is an outlier, which is usually the one that we end up hearing a specific campaign pound the table with their fists the most. And, you know, I'm looking right now at the polls that we have seen. And I'm looking at the results that we've seen in Iowa and New Hampshire, and I'm thinking, I got to talk to Robert C. Cahaly. He is the chief pollster and founder of the Trafalgar Group. He's also the co-host of the Polling Plus podcast, and he's here with us now on the Annie Frey Show. Robert, welcome back. It's great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be back.
I'm looking at these polls that you have at thetrafalgargroup.org. Iowa, your poll that you posted on January 15th, Donald Trump 52%. DeSantis 19.3%, Nikki Haley 18.5%. That's pretty close to the actual results of that turnout. What have you felt so far about your polling at the Trafalgar Group, including those New Hampshire results, what you've learned from people in your polling and what we've seen in the actual results?
Well, New Hampshire always presents a particular problem because it's an open primary. And, you know, when you start building your models, it is hard to anticipate that 53% of the people who are going to vote in the Republican primary self-identify as not being a Republican. So there was only like 3 of us that polled when it came down to Trump and Haley. And of those, we were like 3 points off on Trump. So, I mean, I felt pretty good about where it was. It's very frustrating to try to poll something like that, especially with last minute changes. But as we look into South Carolina, there's a lot of time, and it'll be much more isolated to Republicans. I mean, in the biggest Democrat primary they've ever had, it's like 400,000, and that's Hillary Obama in '08. And the biggest Republican primary is 700,000. So even if a bunch of them bled over, it's just not enough. You know, when New Hampshire, we got 18,000 brand new people voted in that primary. I mean, that's bigger than the wave that McCain brought in to beat Bush in 2000, which was the biggest thing that's happened to date. So, you know, muddying up the water of the opponent's primary is politics. I get it. But I think that with Biden actually on the ballot in South Carolina, it's a different day, but it's very close to the same day. I think you'll have much more of a measurement of Republicans.
That's an interesting outlook. I want to know what you, as a pollster, I want to know how. I would assume that you learn every cycle a little bit more about your science, a little bit more about the feelings, the temperature of people, and their willingness to participate in polls if they're reached out to. Tell us a little bit about the science of taking polls in 2024.
Yeah, it's totally changed since even, you know, I'm probably the youngest one in the industry. I don't think I did my first poll till 2008. But, you know, back then you could do automated calls and just really knock it out and get great polls. Now, those are almost useless. So few people answer their home line. I mean, my dad's in his 80s. He's like, don't call the house, call myself. I mean, and that's kind of where we are. And the other thing is, young people have kind of evolved in this age where they don't want to talk.
Right.
So if you're trying to get people under 50 with a phone call, you ain't getting there. And so that's what we found as one of our advantages has been that we got a lot of bigger participation from young people, and for that matter, minorities, with the cell phone and doing not just a text where they click a link, but a text back and forth. Now, that's the most expensive way to do it, but savvy people, younger people, are hesitant to click a link. So you got to deliver people something that works for them. And the other thing is the old days of calling the house and putting people on the spot at 6 o'clock. People are busy.
Right.
So when we send a text or a email, we make sure that we let them know that you have like 24 hours to fill it out, 24 hours to participate. And so what we find is people kind of answering one question, then waiting 4 hours and answering the next. But it lets people do it on their own convenience. And hey, I know it sounds a little gross, but I know a lot of my polls get taken on the toll.
That's probably very, very accurate.
We hear that all the time.
I can totally understand that is the case. Robert C. Cahaly with us with the Trafalgar Group. You can go online to thetrafalgargroup.org and see some of the polls that they have conducted already, and they're looking pretty accurate. The resources, the information that you've presented here is interesting to me. I'm incredibly skeptical about polls. I know that polls can be used to influence instead of inform. How do you balance the information that you at the Trafalgar Group take in compared to other polls that might be conducted for other reasons that are thrown out there, given in speeches, used to try to prop up or push down other campaigns that are out there?
Well, you know, that's funny. I always say that there are two purposes of a poll. They are either meant to affect the electorate or reflect the electorate. And there's that, you know, you would think there's more reflecting, but I feel like sometimes there's more affecting. You know, the best way to measure it is cycles are up and down, but look at the cumulative ratings. And when you look at like the RCP ratings that they've had, you know, I think it's the last 4 cycles, we're number one among private sector polling firms. We've only got a few colleges ahead of us. And what that does is all of the mainstream media, CNN, Fox, NBC, CBS, all below us. Even New York Times is below us. And so that's year in and year out. And so that's an average, and that's the best way to do it. And that measures your error rate. And so these ones that are kind of fly by night that you've never heard of, that don't get rated on RCP, I'm always suspect of those. I know that, sometimes you have polls that are designed to get out there and to just confuse people, and maybe a candidate somehow paid for it. That's not our model. We have members that pay to get our information. So we don't, these polls that we're putting, if we put them out publicly, they're not for a campaign. Now, if a campaign or an organization pays for it, we make it very clear in the first, tweet or whatever we put out, who paid for it. But if we don't give a name of who paid for it, it means it's one of ours.
Okay, that makes sense. It helps people to understand in their consumption of the information to see if they're trying to be influenced specifically by an entity that would work to gain from the information being put out there. So we're speaking with Robert C. Cahaly of the Trafalgar Group. What are some things that you have on deck right now? Is it always in this timeline of a campaign? Is it about specific results in specific elections in specific states? Are you polling moods of people or issue-based polls out there right now that you're going to be releasing?
Yeah, we definitely do a lot of issue work, and then we do a lot of stuff for corporations and stuff like measuring public opinion as it relates to some of their brands and stuff and things of that nature. But one of the things we're looking at is kind of what motivates people to vote and what their top issue is. And so everybody seems shocked when it's immigration. And what I explained is the reason for that, and we saw this coming for a while, is there are, we joke about there being two justice systems. Well, there are two economies. And for the people on the upper end, people that are in, somehow tied to something that's getting some government renewable energy money, and these guys are going wild. But the people that are moving the election that care about economy first are the ones that are putting their groceries on a credit card. However, with the border, because of fentanyl, that is touching everybody, rich, poor, everybody. And so that's why it's more of a dominant issue, because again, there are a lot of people who don't have a slightest problem with the economy. And if you look at some of the exit poll data in New Hampshire, we saw that a majority were either satisfied or somewhat satisfied with their economic situation, which certainly is not representative of the entire country. And so I think that's one of the things that we knew that early on. The other thing, you can go back and look at the record. 2 years ago, when the first Israeli-Hamas thing started, there was a little dust up. We did a poll to see who people blamed. And what we put out there, we found, is the majority of Democrats blamed Israel. And we put that out there. We were roundly criticized. This is not right. And I said, hey, I'm not saying Pelosi doesn't support Israel. I'm not saying Biden doesn't. I'm not saying Schumer doesn't. I'm saying the rank and file Democrats and the young Democrats don't. 2 years later, surprise, surprise, we were right.
Man. Robert C. Cahaly with us with the Trafalgar Group, a polling entity you can learn more about at the trafalgargroup.org, and has produced some very reliable polls leading into both Iowa and New Hampshire. You're talking about immigration as the number one issue and how the fentanyl concern with the immigration problem that we have touches everybody. I heard this morning, I think it was on Fox News, there was a Democratic pundit that was talking about how, the concern was that immigration being the number one issue, and that maybe a little bit of surprise that it wasn't the economy. And the Democrat was saying that shows that people aren't that upset with the economy, that the economy is improving and people are feeling it that way. And I'm curious if in your studies, if you've noticed that people are softening on the economy and thinking that it's better, or if immigration has just become that big of an issue that while people still maintain the same amount of concern for where we are economically, that the immigration, fentanyl, border security problem has just surpassed it with that much more extent.
Well, like I was saying, border goes across all levels. But what we are finding is, there are people whose income has risen, whether depending upon the industry they're in, there are a lot of people who work in things that aren't really shakable. But the folks that have economy first are those ones that are struggling the most. And that's a big number of people. When, just look at other consumer data, like the fact that repossessions of cars are at all-time high, credit card mortgages and defaults, credit card are at all-time high, and defaults on credit cards are at all-time high. So the people who are struggling do not see any hope, and that is actually opened a lot of doors for Trump as he looks to a general election, because we've talked about, and you can see in some of the polls how some of the African American community is much stronger for Trump, Hispanics much stronger for Trump, young people much stronger for Trump. They are the ones who are suffering most in this economy. They remember what it was like. That's what people don't really perceive. We've never had in this country two presidents run against each other where there was a clear A versus B test. Did you like it then? Do you like it now? And that's what it comes down to. The other thing people confuse about the election is the difference between 2020 and 2016 is third-party candidates. Jill Stein's margin was greater than Trump's margin of victory. But in 2020, if you didn't like Trump, you had nowhere to go. In 2024, there's going to be all kind of places to go, whether it's Cornel West, who's gotten on a lot of ballots, whether it's No Labels, whether it's Kennedy. There are going to be a lot of places to go if you don't like Trump, but just can't stomach voting for Biden. And last time, they all just piled on to Biden. Add to the fact that half the Republicans who did that have big-time buyer's remorse now.
That's a really interesting point that will have a measurable impact, I'm sure, on the 2024 election. Before I let you go, we're speaking with Robert C. Cahaly of the Trafalgar Group, thetrafalgargroup.org, if you want to check out their website. I want to ask you if you have researched or are looking into winning issues for Joe Biden. If there are any standout areas where the Biden administration or Joe Biden as a candidate can really lean into what we can expect to see from their campaign as winning issues for the current president.
Well, obviously, one of the things, if you look at the history of politics in 2004, the fact that traditional marriage was on the ballot in so many states is probably the reason Bush won, because it turned out a lot of people in a lot of specific states. As I recall, that was the year Missouri took over the legislature. It was such a big Republican turnout. So in the places they're going to put abortion on the ballot, that could be an effective issue. But you look at a swing state like Michigan, that's already done. It's a constitutional amendment. Ohio, it's done. So the fear of abortion in 2022, the fear of how restricted things are going to get, has been replaced by the reality that settled in that most of the abortion laws kind of fit the states that they are in now. And, there is not all the stuff you were warned about, people, stuck and being arrested for having a miscarriage. All that nonsense didn't happen. So, but I do still think abortion can be a motivating issue as a scare tactic. I also think this idea that they're going to push about, democracy and dictator and all those type things can be an issue. But it's really hard to point to other things. Now, there's a lot can happen between now and then. And what I will tell you is the biggest thing, and this is the reason that I'm not so confident as some are in the Republicans' ability to win the White House this year, is the Democrats have a machine like you cannot possibly imagine. I've seen this firsthand. The Republicans send out a bunch of mailers and try to get something done and do a bunch of TV ads. The Democrats parachuted 1,000 paid political operatives in the state of Georgia. They were going from person to person with some computer program to pick the people that were on the cell phone and turned them into a get out the vote mechanism where people could text everybody in their cell phone and remind them to vote. That is powerful, and the ripple effect is amazing. So in 2022, if you look at it, it wasn't that there wasn't a red wave. There was a red wave in a lot of states, but in the states with U.S. Senate races, they built that blue wall and dispatched that operation. And that operation, I do not see the Republicans having an answer for it.
Man, it will have a huge impact, and I hope that the Republicans do pay attention to what has happened before and work on having a sufficient answer, of course, but we will wait and see and continue to watch your polls as they come in. We appreciate you being here with us. We hope you'll come back again soon because there's always going to be lots to talk about. Robert C. Cahaly, thank you for being with us here today.
Well, love to do it. And if you want to hear from us weekly, Matt Towery from Insider Advantage and I do a podcast called Polling Plus. We've gotten it kicked off the last few weeks, and this one from New Hampshire that'll post tomorrow is going to be kind of fun.
All right. Perfect. It's called the Polling Plus podcast. Go out and subscribe to that to get more from Robert C. Cahaly. Thank you for being here with us today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Sounds good. The chief pollster and founder of the Trafalgar Group, Robert C. Cahaly, with us here on the Annie Frey Show. We're going to take a quick break. Ryan Wiggins back in studio here in just a moment. And your votes on the YouTube live chat poll. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Is it because she's going to win? Is it because she wrongly thinks she can win, that she's there to collect donor money, or that she's a Democrat plant? What do you think? We want to know your thoughts on that. Richard said, I think she wants the donors' money and she's a plant too, but it won't let me pick two choices. Well, Richard, you're just going to have to vote for one there and let me know what you think. Patricia said, I think she actually is a Democrat plant, thinks she can win, and is going after the money. And Scooter said, would you believe Haley is staying in the race to spite misogyny? What do you think? Go on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, give us your vote, and leave a comment. Tell us what you think. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away.
Some grow cold. I woke up in between.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
So let's get to the point. Let's roll.
I want to talk to you about Jen Teskey. She is somebody who has become a friend of mine. My relationship of getting to know her and the team at RE/MAX Alliance, the whole team at RE/MAX Alliance, specifically the Jen Teskey team, these are your people. When you start to think about listing your home, you call Jen Teskey. Even if it's just occurred to you that maybe there's a move in your future, maybe there's the thought to downsize your home, maybe the kids are moved out and you're thinking, you know what? Maybe there's something else out there for us, a little smaller, a little more designed for you and your lifestyle now. Jen Teskey is going to help you sell your house and do it in a way that is going to support you through that whole process. If you have an expanding family, if you want to get that bigger home, same thing. Jen Teskey and the Jen Teskey team are going to help you through that process and make the process as smooth as it possibly can go. This is what you need to do to reach her. And I want you to poke this number in your phone. You don't have to call her or text her right now, although you certainly can. But you can reach her at your convenience at 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. Jen Teskey is the person who's going to help you get that home sold. Also, she helps you buy, of course. You can find out more information about Jen Teskey and her team at jenteskeyhomes.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Mark Cox here for Hampton Manor of Wentzville. It's a new senior living community with outstanding amenities, a personal chef, and a great location just off I-70 at Lake St. Louis. Schedule your visit today. Go online to wentzvilleassistedliving.com.
The YouTube live chat poll of the day has to do with Nikki Haley staying in the race. Should she? Or why is she? In fact, there are 4 choices. Can she win? She wrongly thinks she can win. Collecting donor money is why she's staying in, or she's a Democrat plant. It's one of those 4. Let us know which one of those 4 it is. It's 1 of 48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
I have no idea who this is.
Oh, really? I don't even really love this band, but I respect this band.
It's Rush, right?
It's Rush.
Yeah.
That's a St. Louis thing, isn't it?
I don't know.
It is a very St. Louis thing to really love Rush.
I was my friend from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan was a big Rush fan.
Well, I'm not saying that only St. Louisans like Rush, like
no,
Sammy
but it's
Hagar.
It's like a
they're-
gooey butter cake thing.
I don't think they were made here.
They were not. REO Speedwagon was close. I think they were Springfield, Illinois.
Yeah, I think my days spent as a sister station of Cahaly, which is where I know everything that I know about classic rock, which is probably mean to say about Cahaly. They would do their bracket whenever, I guess in March, when everybody does.
Yeah.
And it seemed like Rush would be, we could fill out brackets ahead of time for the Cahaly thing. And I love doing NCAA brackets.
Me too.
And I would look at that bracket of all of these bands, and I'm like, I don't have any idea, except for I'm going to put Rush at least in the last 4 options.
That's probably a good move in St. Louis. Yeah, it may be because we're here that I think they're overrated because they're revered in St. Louis. Brackets, though, those, not just NCAA, whenever anybody does one, oh, this is so-and-so doing a fast food bracket, I'm like, I'm in.
I know.
I love them. I don't know why.
You've done the Red Wings bracket. My son's...
And will again.
You finished in the top 3 once, didn't you?
I won some money last year.
And Brad won the year before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad donated
Last year
back.
was weird because...
Did Frey not donate his back?
I don't think so.
Did I not? No, I didn't. I bought you guys something when we went on vacation. I bought you guys a dinner.
Yeah, you did. Dinner?
Or something. I bought you something. That was the goal. I said, well, I'll take you out to
Frushi.
Yeah.
Yeah, on your guys' date.
Yeah, I took Brad on a date with
Quick
that money.
story time, because you have to tell the story. I hate when people talk about inside jokes on the air and don't explain it for the people. When we went, I took the show in May for 2 nights. Whirlwind
3
trip.
days, 2 nights. We left at 5 a.m. and got back on the 3rd day at 12 p.m. or 11:59 p.m.
Yeah, like midnight.
Yeah.
And then we worked the next day.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it was a whirlwind
And
event.
then I got a kidney stone.
And then you got a kidney stone because you didn't drink any water. My husband went with us, and you can get buttons when you go to Disney World, and it would be like happy birthday button. And then you walk around and cast members tell you happy birthday. Sometimes you might get a free ice cream or something like that. It just, whatever.
Yeah.
And they have, so they have birthday buttons. They have first time visit buttons. they have buttons that just say I'm celebrating, and you can write anything on it. And then they have anniversary buttons because there are a ton of people who go for their wedding or celebrating an anniversary, whatever. And we went in May of last year because that was the 5th anniversary of our show, and it was a fun excuse to just go, whatever. So my husband got anniversary buttons and had them write 5 years on this button and came and brought them to Brad and Ryan and Hannah and myself. And I go, I'm not wearing that.
Yeah, because if you walk somewhere with me or Brad, it would look like we were married and your husband was there.
I'm not wearing, no, I just didn't want to wear a button.
Oh, okay.
Ryan was like, I'll wear it.
I'm in for whatever all the time, so.
So we were in Epcot. They have World Showcase, lots of different food that you can taste and experience in all the different countries that are in Epcot. And Hannah and my husband and myself had gone to go do one thing, and Brad and Ryan had both determined that they wanted to try this thing that was called frushi in Japan.
Yep.
And it's sushi. It looks like sushi, but it's made out of fruit and whatever, rice or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a dessert almost.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to, I mean, it's supposed to look like.
Right.
Look like sushi, but it's fruit and I think rice too.
Frushi. Ryan and Brad are up at the kiosk there to place their order.
Let me set the stage a little bit, though.
You take it from here because you were there.
Ryan's like, I'll get this one. I forget, I had bought something else before or something like. So Ryan's like, I'll get this one. So he steps up to the cashier, to the what do we call them, cast member there, and I'm back maybe two, 3 steps behind him, kind of off to the right a little bit. And Ryan makes the order, he gets it, and he's like, blah, 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 finishes, pays, and she goes, oh, and congratulations on the 5 years. And Ryan's like, oh, thank you, and just walks away. And I'm standing there like, he doesn't even realize what just happened. Because when you look at this button, like it's celebrating 5 years, I think is what it says on it. And it's got 2 like Mickey Mouse shaped rings on it that are interlocked.
Yeah, so a show anniversary doesn't quite make as much sense in light of 2 rings on the button.
It should have been an I'm celebrating button.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
But you wore it.
Well, I think Brad and I were the only ones of the 5 of us there who still had them on. So
I don't even know if I had mine on. Because I had my first visit button on.
Regardless, I think May 5th of this year will be Brad and Ryan's 6th anniversary.
It will be.
And yours, mainly yours.
No, that's in April. Yours was determined in May.
Yeah.
April 23rd is the anniversary of the Annie Frey show.
We got a big congratulations, and I told them a genuine thank you.
Yeah. He was just waiting, standing there.
He had no idea.
Thank you for the frushi and the congratulations.
I'm assuming she just knew, it's the Annie Frey 5th anniversary of the show.
Everybody in Orlando knows that.
We're kind of a big deal.
Obviously.
Yeah, that one will live in infamy.
I was really happy for you guys.
So was she.
Yeah, I was like officially
and
can
then
call
we
you
shared
Brian.
frushi.
Yeah.
We didn't even get 2.
That's
we were
all
eating
right.
off the same plate.
Yeah.
We had our arms interlocked.
No shame whatsoever. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy for you.
We went all the way. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. We'll do it again this year. Same date.
Will we?
Yeah.
Are you guys going by yourself?
Me and Brad.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
It's just you guys. I'd go if he was paying too. All right, stick around. More Annie Frey Show in a minute.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
Andrea's Steakhouse in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois is a fantastic place to go for Valentine's Day. And I have good news for you. Valentine's Day this year is on a Wednesday. So you basically have an entire week, 2 weekends that you could say, yeah, this is Valentine's Day. I don't know if they're filled up on Valentine's Day. I know that's a big place to go. So give them a call, and you can make reservations ahead of time for really any time that week. Or if you don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day, you just want to go, that's fine. Andrea's Steakhouse has, I'm not kidding, the best steaks in the St. Louis area. It's not just me saying that. They win awards every year for that very reason. And part of the reason is because of Andrea's steak sauce, which is world famous and made right there on the premises of Andrea's Steakhouse. So grab a bottle of that, but also make a reservation and visit them there at Andrea's Steakhouse. It's an experience. You will love it. Find them online at andreas.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Big win for Trump, but Haley's not out of it yet. John Saucier, Fox News. The day after that victory for Donald Trump in the Granite State, he takes aim at the current commander-in-chief and the other Republican hopeful, with the press secretary of the Trump campaign, Caroline Leavitt, telling Fox Business.
She was crushed in Iowa, coming in 3rd place, and then somehow spun that as a victory. The American public are not buying it. And then last night in New Hampshire, she lost by a double-digit margin.
We've got Fox's Brian Yennis in Manchester, New Hampshire with more.
She won 62% of the unaffiliated or independent voters in New Hampshire, 26 points over Trump. She argues that makes her the most electable against President Biden. Perhaps surprisingly, 95% of New Hampshire voters said the most important trait voters are looking for in a Republican nominee is if they are mentally fit. Haley last night challenged Trump, who said he would do better than Haley on a mental competency test. The former governor of South Carolina just released 2 brand new ads in her home state of South Carolina, reminding voters of her accomplishments there. She was governor there from 2011 to 2017. The polls show that Trump leads in that state by some 30 points.
Nevertheless, Trump won New Hampshire over Haley, but with a very different sets of voters backing the different Republicans. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal looks at the numbers in Nashua.
62% of unaffiliated voters went for former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. 70% of registered Republicans went with former President Trump, according to the Fox News voter analysis. Just over half of Haley's supporters here voted for President Biden in 2020. Of those who knew who they were voting for all along, nearly 9 in 10 went for Trump. While just over half of those who voted in the GOP primary said they'd be satisfied if Trump won, only 39% said they'd be satisfied if Haley won. Now, 77% of Haley supporters said they could not support former President Trump. Just over half of his supporters said they couldn't support Nikki Haley. In Nashua, New Hampshire, Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
America's listening to Fox News.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Lots of clouds with us this afternoon. Some areas of fog and periods of rain. Definitely liquid rain, 52 for the high. Areas of fog and clouds around tonight. Some more rain on tap, 42 Thursday. Periods of rain mainly in the morning on Thursday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and 50. Mostly cloudy. I think we get a dry day out on Friday, 48, but more rain Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Seminars Tuesday, January 30th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights, and Wednesday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Life is challenging and ever-changing, so take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how, learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com for our special offer. A financial freedom membership for only $297. That's 60% off the regular price. Enter promo code 2024. Learn to retire through real estate investing from the best. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Learn the path to retiring at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Code 2024.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there. The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Dean Phillips talks about this on the trail, and he talks about how Democrats demean MAGA voters. He talked about it with me today, saying that, it's just strange that they're talking about a group of voters like that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's narcissism. I think if you've lived in New York long enough, it's maybe a New York thing. Someone punches you, you punch them back hard.
So that's Charles Payne responding to Bret Baier last night. This panel that they had after the results came in was a very interesting panel. And I think it's something that we need to be paying more attention to as this race progresses, because we can see the absolute hatred, disgust that the people in the left-wing media have for Donald Trump. But I really think it's more than that, and they really dove into it.
That's why I grew up in Harlem.
Not if the country's at stake, right?
He won. He became president of the United States with that same personality. I don't think that, listen, I think it's worse with Biden calling MAGA. Biden's anger and vitriol and hatred for MAGA is far more worse than President Trump's individual battles with someone who crosses him.
So I want to pause it there because this has got another couple minutes to it. But the biggest thing, and when we spoke with Robert C. Cahaly earlier, who polls these issues, I asked him, what is the best thing going for Joe Biden? Like, what issue really is a winning issue for Joe Biden? And he said, abortion still matters. And he said it's a fear tactic when it's employed. But then he also said the idea that the conversations about Donald Trump being a dictator and about how dangerous he is. And what the left-leaning media levies against Donald Trump every day, all day, is this idea that Donald Trump is dangerous. They try to make him scary. And so they put all of this attack on Donald Trump. But what we hear with Charles Payne here is he flips the script on this. And I think it's really important to not miss this particular issue while the political conversation is going on, which is they say Donald Trump is scary. But then you listen to what Joe Biden says about MAGA voters. That's not about Donald Trump. That's Joe Biden coming after maybe you.
That is something that is really detrimental to this country, that the president of the United States despises half of the United States. President Biden, I said earlier today, about a week ago, I had a segment coming up, so I Googled Biden hates MAGA. Nothing but articles after articles after articles. He has expressed hatred for half of the country.
Who's writing those articles?
It doesn't matter. Look
And it's
at
not.
him. Because the bottom line is he says it. He has vitriol for them. And so does MSNBC, and so does CNN, and so does the New York Times. They have vitriol for half of the nation. They don't look at them like fellow Americans, and it's unfortunate. They try to paint them as racist. All the things that they do to their fellow Americans who simply want a safe home, a safe community, for the children to have prosperity. They want the same thing, but they demean them all the time. That's why I think Phillips was so intriguing, because he went to a rally to find out for himself. And guess what? Golly, these are some pretty cool people. They're just like us.
Exactly what Jamie Dimon said this week as well.
Yeah.
So that's Charles Payne talking about Dean Phillips, who, what did he get, 20% last night?
Almost.
In New Hampshire?
Just shy, yeah.
Against write-in candidate Joe Biden, and then also Marianne Williamson, who's still there. Dean Phillips is a congressman, and he's out there saying, listen, I know nobody knows who I am. More people know who I am now than they did 10 weeks ago, but we have to wake up to the situation that the Democrats are in with President Joe Biden as the leader of our party. Dean Phillips went on to say that he went to a Trump rally and he met some people, these very people that when you listen to Joe Biden, I assume he's trying to attack Donald Trump. He's not attacking Donald Trump. He hates you. They hate you. They put you in a box to make it easy to classify you as a bunch of really, really terrible things. And interestingly enough, Dean Phillips, the guy who is challenging Joe Biden, the incumbent, the current president of the United States, went to a rally and met some of you.
We have a crisis of participation. And I got to tell you guys, I went to a Donald Trump rally a couple nights ago. Never been to one. I had an event across the street. I saw the line of people waiting in the cold for hours. And I thought, what the heck? I'm going to be a leader who actually invites people, doesn't condemn them. Met probably 50 Trump people waiting in line. Every single one of them, thoughtful, hospitable, friendly. All of them so frustrated that they feel nobody's listening to them but Donald Trump. A diverse crowd, people who had never been to a Trump event before. My party is completely delusional right now.
That's quite a statement. And that's not a statement from Sean Hannity on Fox News. That's not a statement from Tucker Carlson, not on Fox News, or some sort of far right-wing MAGA hat-wearing Trumper. That's the guy who's challenging Joe Biden in the Democrat Party for the nomination from the Democratic Party to be the president of the United States. He says his party is delusional, and he is correct in that. Jessica Tarloff responded. This was kind of a go back and forth between Charles Payne and Jessica Tarloff. And gosh, Charles Payne, when he gets into it, he gets into it. There's no pulled punches. You can feel the emotion that he certainly believes what he's saying. He's not speaking on behalf of anyone else. And I relate considerably to what he is talking about when you listen to the way Joe Biden and the people who are surrogates for Joe Biden speak about those who might support Donald Trump. Listen to Jessica Tarloff.
That's completely fine, and I know that the lines have shifted dramatically, but Joe Biden's responsible for a lot of that. You say that he's demeaned half the country. First of all, it's 74 million people that voted for Donald Trump, and he is explicit every time he talks about the MAGA movement to say that this is a subsection of the Republican Party, which is borne out in elections when you see people voting against Donald Trump. And this idea that
but what about the people
way
voting for him? What about the people voting for him? He gives teleprompter speeches. I mean, you have to understand that it's...
but he is talking about insurrection.
No.
Yes, he is.
No.
Why is he talking about January 6th? And he calls...
He says MAGA like it's a swear word, you know, instead of a slogan.
If you get called regularly,
he's the
which
president
Democrats
of the United
do,
States.
thugs,
He's the commander-in-chief.
pedophiles,
Why can't he call the border a crisis while he's denigrating and castigating Americans? No, the voters are talking about that, Jessica.
But
Excuse me,
point is about demeaning voters.
The president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, went to Philadelphia a year and a half ago with a Marine posted behind him.
I saw.
And gave a decidedly political speech where he insulted a large part of the country. And I've said many times on this network, and I'll say it again tonight, if people, a lot of people, spend a fraction of the time that they spend obsessing over Donald Trump the person, learning one thing about the Trump voter, things may be very different. This is Joe Biden's version of Hillary's deplorable and irredeemable.
It's true. Once again, we see an instance where one thing is said. Joe Biden is repeatedly attacking MAGA supporters. He's not talking about MAGA supporters who are insurrectionists, which on its own is bologna sausage. He's lumping people together, anybody who would be MAGA. And, you know, we've done polls like this before. I'll probably do it again here soon because we haven't done one in a while. And I think that it'd be interesting to see the reaction of our audience here, both on the air on 97.1 FM Talk and on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. The idea of, like, are you MAGA? Well, you'd have to ask yourself, what is MAGA? I would say I am, but I got people who tell me every day that I'm a Trump hater. Are you MAGA?
I would have to say that I am, because I never seek out the label. But if you gave the attributes, I would say, well, I am those things, so I guess I am.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I'm MAGA. I mean, I want to see the best for this country. I want to put America first. I want to make America great again.
Simple.
Yeah.
So if you're the things that Brad is describing there, like you said, Ryan, if you were to list out the attributes of what it means to be MAGA, then we all in here would say, yeah, we absolutely are. But when Joe Biden says MAGA, he's not talking about those things. He's talking about people who are dangerous. He's saying MAGA and redefining what it is so that he can make it a bad word, so he can make it something people aren't wanting to associate themselves with, at least not publicly. Maybe in a safe room where it's just the three of us here talking and nobody else can hear what we're saying. We would say, well, yeah, I'm totally for Donald Trump. Joe Biden's a train wreck. And there are people who would, in safe company, admit, yeah, I'm voting for Donald Trump. But they want to make it something that you don't speak out loud, that you're not going to put out there for the world to hear, because then that makes the movement on the MAGA side look like it's catching some steam, especially if you're somebody who has watched what they've done to Donald Trump, the way they've attacked him, they've lied about him, they've used every resource at their hand, unethically so, to try to marginalize him. There are people who can see that and say, I'm not really fighting for Donald Trump, but I am for fighting against the man. And big leftist Democrat government is the capital M man right now. And I mean it in the most patriarchal sense possible. So if that means that you're going to come out this time and you're thinking, you know what, I know that they're screwing with him. And I do know that my personal finances were doing much better under Donald Trump. And I think that COVID kind of screwed him in the end. And I don't love everything he does. And you give all the qualifiers as to why you're not like wearing navy suits and red ties and white shirts to work every day with a red hat on to show everyone how Trumpian you are. Yeah, you're going to vote for Donald Trump. They can't have those people. That's the most dangerous thing to Joe Biden and the Democrat Party right now is to have those people come out and say, yeah, I'm for Trump now. Because if you're for Trump, capital N-O-W, that means something has shifted and changed. In the last 4 years when Joe Biden was the president, that means Joe Biden did that to you. That means Joe Biden turned you MAGA. And it's happening. And the worst thing that can happen is you speak about it. So they continue to try to make it a 4-letter word so that you won't want to be associated with it. And it is a slur. Joe Biden is absolutely using it as a slur towards people. But we're supposed to believe that Donald Trump is the one who's hateful and divisive. Joe Biden is only hateful and divisive to the American voter. And the people who prop him up in the left-wing media make sure that you don't hear anything different from Donald Trump. They put all of the words into his mouth. They keep you from being able to consume what Donald Trump has to say in the context that he says it. Because if they allow you to consume it, you might start thinking for yourself. And for the Democrats and their machine, their operation, the worst thing that could happen is that you start thinking for yourself.
Yeah, it's always the same phrase, too. It's extremist MAGA Republicans. It just rolls right off of his tongue in speeches. I mean, almost every time he speaks.
And it's not just Joe Biden. It's Hakeem Jeffries.
It's everybody.
I can't pull a Jeffries clip without him going out in front when he gives one of those little press conferences. Like, the extreme MAGA Republicans want to secure the border. They won't give us the money.
It's Jamie Raskin. It's Corinne Jean-Pierre. It is everybody. It's Chuck Schumer. They're all saying it, and it's just to elicit a feeling in you to get you to go, ugh. I don't necessarily identify. I don't like that. I may not like Joe Biden, but I definitely don't like that. It makes me feel a certain way.
Yeah. And like they attach that extreme to the front of it, and it serves two purposes. It's plausible deniability. It's like, well, we aren't talking about all Republicans, just the extreme ones. But then off the other side of their mouth, they're like, they're all extreme.
Yeah, other than Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney.
That's it.
George Conway.
Yeah, give me a break.
And they'll talk about it in any scenario possible, too. I mean, you're talking during budget battles, which most Americans are like, yawn. They're like, well, I'm not getting my way. It's because of extreme MAGA Republicans like Mike Johnson. I mean, they throw it around like it's candy all the time, and it's very divisive.
What has MAGA done to hurt this country?
The left would say January 6th. That's what they would say.
I almost said something the FCC won't let me say. It was right on the tip of my tongue.
But that's what they want you to think of anytime they say MAGA, is those issues that they, by the way, only selected certain things that you could see from on January 6th with their commission. That's what they want you to see. That's very, very specific. Aside from that, MAGA, as far as policy goes, has done all positive things.
What a psyop.
Isn't it amazing?
It's unbelievable if you pause to sit there and think for a second, because no, I don't think January 6th was the worst day in our country's history, not even freaking close. I don't think it was the disaster insurrection that the leftists, I mean, it's amazing to think about how bad an actual violent insurrection would be should it materialize, and how damaging it would be to our democratic republic. It's actually amazing to sit and think, if that actually materialized the way the left wants you to think that it did, how damaging it would be to our democratic republic. And yet they hang their hat on it every time, every opportunity they get. They want you to think that it happened the way that they say that it happened. They want you to think that there are people in our country that simultaneously support Donald Trump that are only interested in overthrowing the government. It's the only way the context and the pounding of the table of Donald Trump wanting to be a dictator and never leave office, it's absolutely absurd. I mean, if your pea brain only thinks that is what Donald Trump is actually trying to do, which is to run the country as the dictator for the end of all time, say that in the same sentence where you remind us that he's almost 80 and close to dead. And in the same breath where you accuse us of being ageist by questioning whether or not Joe Biden somehow or another has the mental acuity or not to continue to be the president.
We'll teach Donald Trump a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the men in America unless you want to get the benefit.
Don't mess with the lemon?
We all have eyes and ears, and we all have brains, some more prominent than others, and we can see what's going on. And as Ryan said, they need to make you feel a certain way because your reaction on your emotion is all they have, which is why it ramps up the closer you get to Election Day, because you will react immediately on your emotion, and in time, you will react to your sensibilities of the emotion and how it plays out when you have time to process it and think about it. The hateful, divisive people in this country are those who are operating this Biden administration, who won't answer questions, who are destroying our sovereign nation by not protecting our southern border, who are working their way in between parents and their children, in between parents and their children's education, who are working their way in between you and your religion, who are working their way into things that you know to be scientifically, biologically, factually true. They're turning everything on its head, upside down, so that you can't tell what is up from down and left from right. And then they try to scare you because everything is so unearthed and unstable that they make you afraid so that you rely on them to fix the problem that they created. I feel as though we're getting a little malaise from the up and down of it. And people are remembering, I do know what 4 years of Trump was like. I was there. And I do know what 4 years of Biden is like. I am here. And one is incredibly preferable over the others, no matter what you're telling me that I should think, feel, and believe. People are going to be able to make that decision for themselves. I think it was Robert Cahaly, I think, who said we've never had this much of an A-B decision to make in an election. You know what you're getting with both.
I like when Jim Carafano highlights that too, because he does. He says it's never been clearer the different visions that exist for America.
Let's take a quick break. We'll get more of your responses on this and our YouTube live chat poll when we come back. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? That's the question we're asking you on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Is it because she can win? Is it because she wrongly thinks she can win? Is it because she's collecting donor money still, or that she's a Democratic plant? Chris said, I think she still has a chance. I think she thinks she still has a chance. That's the second option. Ripper said maybe it's wrong thinking, but maybe she thinks lots can happen by the end of Super Tuesday. So if the money is there, she thinks it's worth it. She is young enough to run in 4, 8, or 12 years. And Andrew said she's only in it for the money now. She really thinks she's going to still win. Let's know what you think on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Come leave us a comment, leave a vote. We'll be back in just a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Air Comfort Service, they're online at aircomfortservice.com. Of course, they are doing furnace tune-ups and maintenance for people all over the St. Louis bi-state region. But they also offer another service, which you may have heard me talking about. They are Air Comfort Service heating and cooling and insulation. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated, which means on those incredibly cold days, you're trying to heat your house as much as you can. It might not be able to keep up with the under-insulation that is existing in your attics within your home. Air Comfort Service has a way to check those things and to make sure that they can get your insulation up to speed. And the amount of money this can save you on energy over the course of the lifetime of your home is pretty dramatic. Reach out to Air Comfort Service and ask them how they can help you with your insulation concerns. Maybe you feel like your furnace is running improperly. You can have that checked too, but the insulation is a partner issue that can really make a huge difference for you when it comes time to heating your home in the frigid temperatures and also cooling your home in the summer. If you're interested in their insulation services, you can give them a call at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. Or find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
The NFL playoffs live on Odyssey. Westwood One brings you all the action from the AFC and NFC championship games, streaming live on the free Odyssey app. First, it's Kansas City and Baltimore.
Spinning touchdown catch, hit the goal line, Kelsey. He could not have been more wide open.
Then it's San Francisco and Detroit.
Hands off McCaffrey up the right side, into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers.
Listen to every game live from Westwood One. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Annie Frey, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Do you worry about losing your nest egg with the volatility of the stock market? Would you like to know why linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than most investment options? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, January 30th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsl.honorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
There's a music station that fits your taste at Odyssey.com. Download the app for instant access to hundreds of music stations and listen live to 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it or stream from 971talk.com. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show, the YouTube live chat poll. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Is it because she can win? She wrongly thinks she can win, or she's collecting donor money, or she's a Democratic plant. Frank Belleville said, I chose the third option on the poll. However, I actually think it's a combination of the third and fourth option and collecting donor money, and she's a Democratic plant. Ender said, as much as I wanted to say Democratic plant, I think it's just more to get donor money, namely a number of them being Democratic donors. And Amy said, it's a tough choice between B and D, her wrongly thinking she can win and she's a Democrat plant. She's definitely a Democrat plant, and she very naively thinks she can win. Keep sending us your comments on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and your votes. We'll get to those results at the end of the show. You guys do reusable bags when you go to the grocery store?
Sometimes. When I go to Ruler, I do sometimes.
Ruler Foods, sponsor of the show, is one of those places where you bring your bags. They save, you save a ton of money by shopping there, but you bag your own stuff. You can put it in boxes that you get at the store, which is what we always do.
And their bags are big and they're like 10 cents. So when I remember to, I do, but I'll just usually take their bags because it's not a big deal.
What about you?
Terry does until she runs out of bags. Like, we don't have enough reusable bags to get all the groceries into, so
Because you hate the environment.
Yep.
Okay.
So we just don't love it enough to buy more reusable bags.
So do you go to when you go to the store, do you get the plastic? You just get them in?
Yeah, whatever.
Do either of your areas charge for plastic bags?
I know an area that does, and I don't
Edwardsville
shop
does.
there. I hate shopping there for that reason.
I don't know.
Edwardsville charges 10 cents a bag.
I don't think O'Fallon does. I think it's specific to the particular store.
I have to be in the hugest hurry of hurries to pay for a bag.
I get so mad. I get so mad when I shop in Edwardsville.
Is it what they want you to not? Is like, how do you stick it to the man? Not buying bags and working into their system, or paying for bags and using plastic bags?
They leave me no options. I'm not going to win against their stupid crap.
Just collect. You just pay for 10 bags and then just like throw them in the air.
Yeah,
and leave.
throw them in the ditch.
No.
Or bring all my bags from Collinsville to Edwardsville and then throw them in your ditches.
I don't recommend. I don't recommend
Ryan's
that.
a Blade Runner.
Yeah, this Collinsville Edwardsville thing is getting out of hand. This is like Illinois. Where'd you go to high school? Nerd talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Collinsville Jayhawks and the Edwardsville Tigers.
Stupid Edwardsville.
I would say stupid Collinsville, but I send my kids.
Yeah, those two are fighting over Edwardsville and Collinsville, and
I do
us
not.
people in O'Fallon are just
I went to
watching
Edwardsville
you
High
guys.
School for 1 year, and I don't have a. I played 3 sports at Edwardsville High School. I was a Tiger. Meh.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm
Annie.
39 years old. I do not care.
Okay,
She was
good.
a lady tiger.
I want the Edwardsville. No, it's just a tiger. Thanks, though. Lady tigers. You know what you call them when you see them? Tigers.
Tigers.
You don't.
Cougars.
You don't go to the. No, that's something else. I was a cougar too. We've had that conversation.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was a cougar.
That's right.
I was an eagle. I was a tiger, and I was a cougar, which are all 3 pretty sweet. If you go to the zoo and you see the tigers, you don't go, "Oh, look at the lady tiger." You just say, "Look at the freaking tiger." So they're tigers.
I don't know. I sometimes say, "Look at the lady tiger."
Yeah,
You would.
He gets upset with me. Like, I'm a boy. Sorry, I can't tell.
This is kind of interesting. New Jersey banned retailers from providing single-use plastic bags to customers in 2022. So they banned them. In Edwardsville, you can still use them. You should just feel shame when you do.
I got to say, though, when I go to a place like Trader Joe's, I like the paper bags better. They're just more functional. When you're doing the self-checkout, which is all of them now, if you're trying to get a paper or a plastic bag off of that thing, when it's the new roll,
You have to lick your fingers.
it's terrible. It's so hard. And then you end up wasting like 4 or 5 bags trying to get one to work.
So you got that gallon of milk in the bag with just like 6 bags
You
hanging
got
off.
to put the gallon of milk in like 3 bags.
Yeah, exactly.
Plastic consumption in New Jersey spiked by nearly 3 times following the state's implementation of a strict ban on
Oh, you're
single-use
kidding.
plastic shopping bags. A study found, according to Fox News. Following New Jersey's ban of single-use bags, the shift from plastic film to alternative bags resulted in nearly 3 times increase in plastic consumption for bags. Fredonia Custom Research, a business research division from MarketResearch.com, reported in a study published this month. New Jersey implemented a ban on single-use plastic bans in 2022, the strictest ban on bags in the nation at the time, billing it as an effort to cut back on the plastic one-use bags piling up in landfills. The ban took effect in May of 2022, forbidding larger retail, grocery, and food service stores from providing single-use plastic bags to customers. Instead, shoppers may purchase reusable bags made of woven and non-woven polypropylene plastic, or can bring their previously purchased reusable bags to the store. According to Fox News, didn't take long, however, until shoppers started airing their grievances to local media that the reusable bags were stacking up in their homes due to repeatedly purchasing reusable bags at the grocery store or due to home grocery delivery services using new reusable bags each drop-off. I think we all have our place for reusable bags.
Yes, we do.
It's the corner of your dusty home where you lie your good intentions.
Yes. And they give them out much more in places where they know people use them more too. Like parades. They're just giving them out at random events. So they probably are making more of them.
Some Jersey lawmakers soon acknowledged the issues of shoppers not reusing the reusable bags and simply throwing them out, floating proposed amendments that have since apparently stalled, such as requiring home delivery services use cardboard boxes or paper bags instead of heavy reusable plastic bags. Instead of having the intended beneficial impact on the environment, the reusable bag ban has actually backfired. Plastic consumption in the state nearly tripled, with New Jerseyans previously consuming 53 million pounds of plastic before the ban, compared to 151 million pounds following the ban. Reusable bags made of non-woven polypropylene, I hope I'm saying that right, are much thicker than the typical single-use plastic bags typically found at grocery and convenience stores, using roughly 15 times the amount of plastic, the study reported. So you'd have to use that bag 15 times to break even.
Amazing.
How many times do you reuse your reusable bags?
I'd say about 5 before I end up accidentally trashing it.
Though the bags are built for repeated shopping trips, most New Jerseyans only reuse the bags 2 or 3 times before they're discarded.
That makes sense.
That's hilarious.
And people have
ridiculous.
People have pointed this out too, that if you're trying to cut down on just plastic bags, that kind of plastic bag, if that's your only goal, I guess this probably in the long run works. But if your goal is to cut down on plastic usage, then you're going to have to start telling people they can't have milk in jugs. You have to take a wooden bucket to the store.
Glass.
Or glass. You have to do all these other things.
Probably not a wooden bucket.
You can't get your salad in that bag anymore. You have to take a paper bag to get your salad. You know, there's so much plastic in the store already that cutting one aspect of plastic out of that store visit is not doing anything.
If you just stop and think about it, wherever you're sitting and listening to us now, scan the area and try and count how many items made with plastic are in that area.
And ban one of them and think you're making a huge difference.
Yeah, it's outrageous. And, this is so, we're going to do something good for the environment. We're going to ban bags made out of plastic, and we're going to, compel people to use reusable bags. Now people are throwing out reusable bags, and they've used more plastic. This is how Democratic policies fix things. They start with good intentions, and they make things worse because you can't look 5 seconds down the road and see what people are going to do. It's awful.
The most offensive thing to me is the length of disruption that big government is willing to engage in without actually having results, provable results, that their elitist virtue signaling measures that they can impose upon you. 3 freaking times the use of plastic since 2022. Slow clap for New Jersey.
It's so
high freaking 5.
It's funny, but it's also when you find one of these things in its infancy and you start trying to make these arguments, it's so frustrating because you're looking down the road and going, hey, I'm telling you in 5 years, you're going to make the problem worse by doing this and cost everybody more money. It doesn't matter. We feel good about it.
Objection, that's a slippery slope argument. No, it's not.
Logical
really
fallacy. It's funny. I don't know. It's not funny. I will say, too, I'm somebody who drives past massive landfills every day on 5570 coming in. They are ironically located across the street from Cahokia Mounds, which is a nationally recognized historic site that I respect for what it is and what that area meant in our country's history. And the landfills are so tall that they've changed the skyline, the eastern to western facing skyline. To see the city of St. Louis, the landfills block the arch. I have changed the way that I approach recycling, which is its own scam. We should do a deep dive on that, except for I don't have the resources.
Let's just watch Penn and Teller do their episodes on that.
The way that I utilize things, or that I'm interested in reusable things, it's because I see it every day. I know that it makes a difference for me to drink out of this Annie Frey Show tumbler that Ball's, fan of the show, graciously got us. If I were to bring a water bottle in every day, a plastic water bottle in every day, this is a more sensible use and method for me to drink water. And I can do that. And if it was inconvenient for me at first, it's very easy for me to do it now. It changed my habits. I used like Yetis before, but I'm willing to make those changes. But it was my choice to make that change. And I can see the difference that it's making. The New Jersey legislature making they're forbidding the use of plastic to save the world, and they made it 3 times worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because you can apply it to so many different, especially economic issues that Democrats try to meddle in. Electric cars being one that they're doing right now. It's not the exact same, but it's going to be similar. You know, you let the market dictate it, and it'll happen. We're in our infancy with a lot of these technologies. Don't force them, and they will happen.
The YouTube live chat poll, why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Well, Sherry just commented, and she said, I voted third because with politicians, it's always about money. Sherry says she's still in the race to collect donor money. That's one of the 4 options that we have for you on the YouTube channel right now. Go tell us what you think. Leave a comment. We'll give you the results when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
The Diamond Shop, you find them online at thediamondshop.net. Have you visited them online yet? Maybe you haven't been in the store, but shopping through their inventory online is great. But when you walk in that store, man, you're going to understand why the Diamond Shop has people coming back generationally to make their jewelry purchases with the folks who they can trust, to make sure you're getting quality jewelry. These folks care. They care about you. They care about their products. They care about helping you find exactly what you're looking for, fitting your budget, and respecting you no matter how big that budget is or small that budget is. Valentine's Day is coming up. We're just a few days away from it. So if you're looking for something special, I want to remind you, you buy something at a jewelry store like the Diamond Shop for the cost of what it takes to deliver flowers, that piece is going to last forever. And they have beautiful things well within that Valentine's Day budget range. You can go check them out today. Become a VIP online and visit them and find out events that they have coming up, get opportunities to save. They also have 6 months, same as cash financing as well. You find them online at thediamondshop.net.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. When you're injured and in your darkest hour, Onder Law is not only on your side, we're by your side.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day has to do with Nikki Haley and why she's staying in the race. There are 4 options. It's because she can win, she wrongly thinks she can win, she's doing it to collect donor money, or she's a Democrat plant. I have strong feelings about this. I'll let you know what those are in a few minutes, and we'll give you the results. Let us know how you feel about it. It's the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. The time is 2:46. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Coming up, we'll have the very latest on the chaos in the Missouri Senate. Senate Pro Tem Caleb Rowland's going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour. Plus, Freedom Caucus member Nick Schroer. It's all coming up after Fox News.
You are somebody that I don't know, but you're taking shots.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Like, damn.
Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Say it in the street, that's a knockout. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop out. And I'm just like, hey, are you okay? And I ain't trying to.
Welcome back. Before we get to the results of today's YouTube live chat poll, why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? You go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel. In the live chat portion, you can vote in that. 7 things boomers still spend money on that millennials and Gen Z don't.
Let's hear it.
I'll be curious to see how many of these we actually still qualify for. All 3 of us being millennials. Yes, you are. You can't get out of it.
All right.
I'm going to put cable TV on this list.
Cable TV is on the list. It's the first one listed.
And yes.
I have YouTube TV. That's not cable TV. That's streaming.
That's streaming, yeah.
Streaming TV.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's streaming. I do not pay for cable.
Is cable like the actual cable?
Yeah, it has to be cable. Plugged in.
How many people in Gen Z actually understand cable TV? Like the difference?
I don't know. I would say very few.
I mean, they might have grown up with it.
In Gen Z, maybe. I mean, we're talking about the very, very last of those.
I was going to say millennials were really the cutting the cord generation.
Cable TV, Brad?
Oh, yeah.
You have it?
Yeah, for the Cardinals.
I'm a no.
1 out of 3. Current old man status, Brad.
Yep.
I'm going to win this.
Landlines. You have a landline?
I'm a no.
No. My parents have a landline, and they've flirted with getting rid of it multiple times, and I'm like, you cannot get rid of that number. It's been the same one my entire life.
Yeah.
No, it's yours.
My parents have one as well, and they have a fax machine.
What do they do? Well, they have a business.
Yeah, but they're like, what if we need to fax somebody? I was like, who? Yourself? Like,
what if you need to send a carrier pigeon? It's the same thing. Print media. Have you ever read an article online and got frustrated later when you were unable to find it again? Many boomers cannot relate. This generation still enjoys tangible news offerings, from being able to complete the daily crossword by hand to experiencing a more in-depth and trusted source of information. You get any media in print?
I don't think I do. I will print from digital sources
That
at
doesn't
times,
count.
but no.
We're talking newspapers and magazines.
No, I did. Well, actually, my kids do. My kids get National Geographic and Humpty Dumpty magazines, but I do not.
Does a catalog from a vendor count? Like Summit Racing, they send a catalog if you buy a product from them.
Do you read it?
I always flip through it. It's like it reminds me of being a little kid and making my Christmas list.
I don't think that counts.
I don't think these count either. I'm going to say we're no's.
Yeah.
I'm a no. I do get one quarterly thing from Disney. I'm sorry.
By print?
Yeah, it's a magazine.
Oh, okay.
It's being part of Disney Vacation Club.
Ah.
Like they send you out I think it's either monthly or quarterly. I don't know. But I do look at that.
Okay.
But that's not really
That's not
news.
meaty. Yeah.
Greeting cards. For boomers, a happy birthday text simply isn't enough. This generation appreciated the more traditional practice of writing physical cards for their sentimental touch and personal gestures. While these paper cards cost $3 to $6 each and can seriously add up over time, the price is well worth it for boomers. While younger generations opt for an emoji-filled text or social media post, boomers appreciate the offline connection and higher emotional value they believe physical cards offer.
Physical cards are a big yes.
I attach them to my kids' birthday gifts when they go to a birthday party. Does that count?
What do you mean?
So my son gets invited to a birthday party. We got to take a gift. I'll take a gift with a card or put a gift card in a card. Does that count?
We're not talking about gift cards. We're talking about greeting cards.
But I'm talking about putting a gift card in a greeting card for a gift.
We're talking about investing and valuing the application of a greeting card, a thank you card, a birthday card, a physical hard card, not a digital communication that acknowledges said event.
Well, I guess I would say yes to that then.
Yeah. I bought my husband a birthday card today. Today is his birthday.
So you're a yes too.
I do like greeting cards, but only for more sentimental things. If I'm giving my niece or nephew a card, a gift, the only way they're getting a card is if I have to put money or a gift card in it.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
If I'm getting them a gift and it's a family party and they're opening presents, I'll just be like, hey, that one's from the Freys.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need a card. But if it's I would actually say the closer I am to the person, save my husband, the closer I am to the person, the less likely I am to get a card. But yeah.
I know what you mean.
I think it can convey a sentiment that isn't already assumed.
Yeah.
So I would say we're all 3 yes on that. So, Brad, you've got 2. Specialty home appliances. While younger generations tend to stick with their $20 coffee maker and hand mixer, boomers often spare no expense in their home and kitchen appliances. This tendency may stem from a commitment to home cooking and entertaining and a desire to possess the ideal cooling tool for each culinary task. Boomers tend to spend hundreds on elaborate espresso machines, specialized bread makers, and efficient food processors, while Gen Zers and millennials are opting for practical, cost-effective, and versatile appliances. That's probably because they're growing up in Biden's America.
We can't afford it.
They can't afford a fancy, elaborate espresso machine. They're going to go to Starbucks and get their $42 latte.
Yeah, here's a soup strainer. Make your coffee.
Yeah, the end of that says, or they choose to eat out or order delivery, which is crazy expensive.
I think it's that second one more often than
Yeah.
the first one.
Do you have any, is there any specialty appliance in your home?
Yeah, we
that
have
you
a few.
use?
Yeah, we have a quesadilla maker that we bust out every now and then, and we have a rice cooker that we use. And we just bought an air fryer. We're joining the new millennium
I feel like an air fryer isn't a specialty cooker.
because it cooks everything.
It does it all. So it almost, to me, I mean, it limits the amount that we end up having to fire up the oven.
Yeah.
And for smaller things. So I do have an air fryer. We do use it all the time. Any other specialty appliances in your home, Brad?
We have a bread maker.
Do you use it?
Yes. Well, Terry does, but
We used to have a bread maker. I love the bread that comes out of a bread maker. It's so clunky and hard to store.
We have an appliance that we use just for toast.
A toaster?
So I'm a yes on this.
That doesn't count.
It's a
Doesn't-
specialty appliance,
It doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Does
what all
kit-
the other ones do
Well, I
with the
guess
rice
kit-
cooker and the quesadilla
we also have
maker,
a
right?
KitchenAid mixer, but I don't think that.
No, that's not. You need a mixer
Yeah.
to mix things.
We bought the ice cream.
You don't need a quesadilla maker to make a quesadilla.
No, you don't, but I love it.
And you don't need a rice cooker to cook rice.
No, but it's so much easier.
You just have to have the storage. Larger vehicles. While younger generations opt to drive smaller, more cost-effective vehicles, many boomers see vehicles as not only a means of transportation, but also a status symbol. What about you?
I drive a big truck.
This is an age thing, too, because when I was younger, I only drove little things. Now I have to
That's
drive
what they're
big
saying,
things.
that it is an age thing.
Oh, okay. Then, yes, I'm a yes on this.
So you drive bigger vehicles now
I have to, yeah.
because?
I have 3 children and we need 3-row seating.
Yeah, I keep trying to figure out. I'm sorry, we have to leave 2 of you at home.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work. Yeah, we have a full-size SUV and a minivan, and it is 100% out of practicality. So I would go on that. And in-store shopping. This is, I think, an interesting divider of people. Boomers also shop differently than younger Americans, reflecting the environment they grew up in. Younger people ordering, delivering, car side to go, that type of stuff. You shop in store?
I very much do and prefer it.
I would say I shop in store more than I shop online, yeah.
We definitely shop in store more than we shop online, but my husband does the majority of that shopping. I think we're like in between, which is probably right where we should be.
Yeah,
on
we're
that
getting there
list.
too. But if I see a dress, I want to try it on. I don't want to just order it. You know what I mean? That's not literal.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an analogy.
Exactly. And I was doing it for you because you're a girl.
Uh-huh. And I'm the only one in here, obviously, that wears dresses.
You're right.
My mom texted me. She said, we don't have a fax machine or a landline.
They got rid of both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, update.
And she said, and they also don't have a lot of appliances. A Mr. Coffee, a crock pot, and an air crisper.
Well, she is a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, she is.
You're older than them.
She's listening to the Annie Frey show.
They drive very big vehicles, though.
Smart lady. The YouTube live chat poll for today. Why is Nikki Haley staying in the race? Well, we have the results for you right now. 7% of you think she can win.
Okay.
19% say to collect donor money. 28% of you said Democratic plant, and 46% of you say she wrongly thinks she can win. So the majority of people voted that she's in it. I mean, I would say that she's in it for the right reasons. She's just wrong. 46% of you are saying that. So we appreciate you voting today and giving us your thoughts on that issue. We always love to read your feedback as well. So we appreciate you joining in the live chat portion of the show. Stick around. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next.
You won't believe so. Kick out the jams, kick up the soul. Pour another glass of that rock and roll. Turn up the band.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
What I'm about to share is something we don't talk about often enough, so I'm just going to say it. We apply deodorant to our armpits every day. It's a part of the routine, right? So why do we put up with odors on other parts of our body between showers? It's time you discovered Lumi Whole Body Deodorant for pits, privates, and beyond. I tried it, and I noticed a difference right away everywhere. Lumi was developed by an OBGYN